Youngak takes a minute to think. Actually, cutting the team size is a massive blessing in disguise for him, especially since he is already dealing with a major lack of available staff members. Seunhwa jumps into the mix. She says to trust him. Kong recently won a duel against her father. Kong tries to debunk this, arguing that the vice principal was definitely holding back. But Hua isn't budging. By the rules they set, Kong was the clear winner. Youngak is shook. This guy actually managed to land a clean hit on Kim Mandong. Aisal quickly chimes in. Kong is 100% the real deal. Jong Sik is confused. With skills this high, why on earth is he still just B rank? He asks if there is some hidden reason for the delay. Kong admits it is nothing special. He just hasn't fulfilled all the official requirements for the promotion exam yet. Specifically, you need 100 B rank clears, and frustratingly, his time spent fighting overseas doesn't count at all. Because of that technicality, Kang hasn't even been allowed to take the test. He plans to renew his license and finally push for A rank sometime during the following year. Youngak tells him he better make sure he takes that exam as soon as possible. Aisal thanks him, but her uncle clarifies he hasn't fully backed down just yet. He still doubts Kang's fit. Join me next time to see if he proves him wrong. He bluntly tells Kang that despite his strength, he clearly lacks real-world dungeon experience. Then Youngak reveals his plan. He is assigning 2 support hunters with expert knowledge of the local geography for them. Kang is impressed. Youngak saw through his lack of experience and compensated by assigning exactly the right personnel for the job. Kang admits the truth. Even though they have worked together, his current team has absolutely no synchronized formation at all. Usually, they just charge into portals and slaughter every monster, while Siona stays in the rear to provide necessary buffs. But with Yazul joining them and 2 other hunters on the way, things are about to change. Shortly after, the group finally meets the hunters who will be joining their raid. The man is Han Guangho, a B-rank hunter, while the lady is Lai Jai, who is also a fellow B-rank. Apparently, these 2 are elite specialists in the specific areas that the team needs most. Guangho handles all the monster detection, while Jihei will be managing the tricky terrain ahead. Kang is surprised. Jonggik noticed the team lacked a long-range fighter and chose to complement them with these experts. He realizes something. Jong might look like a flashy person, but he is actually an incredibly detailed leader. Without wasting any time, they head into the dungeon. The dungeon is a rugged, cave-like terrain filled with blind spots that give monsters easy access to ambush them. The enemies present inside this cave are nothing but massive, aggressive red mice. This specific portal was actually delayed because it was deemed quite difficult to clear. Guangho suggests they run the dungeon for just 2 hours, and Kang readily agrees to the plan. Suddenly, Jai notices a monster creeping behind her. Before she can even draw her bow and arrow, Kang has already slashed it down. With a single strike, he slices the massive mouse clean in half. Kang is actually disappointed by the monster. He had pictured something a lot more ridiculous in his head. While Isil and Kang chat about the mice, Jai is left standing there in absolute shock by what happened. She realizes Kang was able to sense the monster far faster than a B-rank detection skill ever could. And not only that, he took down the beast without using a single drop of mana. Sona then asks Kang if there are even more monsters lurking deep within the cave. And he confirms it. He can sense a massive load of them waiting just around the corner. Guangho asks if he also has detection skills. Kang says yes, assuring the team he will provide cover for everyone. Jai and Guangho are both left speechless by this. Finally realizing how amazing Kang really is, it explains exactly why he chose to reduce the total party numbers. 2 hours after entering the portal, Guangho and Jai find themselves struggling just to keep up with Izul and Kang. The 2 have decimated every monster in their path, clearing the entire dungeon before anyone even realized it. Jai is forced to ask Yul if Kang is actually just a B-rank hunter. Yul admits she barely knows him. Yul reveals that Aisal was the one who brought him along, finally mentioning his full name to them. Hearing that name, Guangho freezes. he realizes that he actually knows exactly who Kang is. He remembers the time he once challenged him to a duel. But seeing what Kang is capable of now, he is beyond thankful that fight never actually happened. Yassel tells her friends they will likely go home empty-handed, since they basically did nothing during the entire raid. Suddenly, they hear Kang casually talking about how they are going to split the total profit completely evenly. They remind him they did nothing, but Kang just shrugs. He honestly does not mind at all. See, they wouldn't have even been able to enter that dungeon without hitting the required hunter count anyway. Kang takes a second to let them know he genuinely appreciates them trusting a total stranger like him. Guangho realizes Kang is being for real with this gift and rushes over for a brotherly hug. And so, the squad kept moving, knocking out several expeditions across the island while things started shifting behind the scenes. Word gets out to Kang's students on the island that their teacher is actually there right now. They immediately start blowing up his phone, begging him to come and finally meet up with them. By the third day of the mission, Guangho and the others can't stop talking about how lucky they are to have Sona, Aisal, and especially Kang on the team, since they have been hard carrying the entire group lately. Stepping out of the latest portal, Hua reminds Kang that he actually has an appointment to keep. Kang admits he is planning to meet his students, who came to Jeju for a vacation trip. Since he is literally covered in monster blood and filth, Hua tells him to wash up first. Kang is just happy the team is finally gelling and finding their rhythm together. Next week should be even smoother once the injured hunters finally make their return to the field. Guangho then steps up and asks Kang if he needs a car for the trip. Kang figures he'll just grab a taxi and says there is no need for that. But Guangho insists he take the car. It is the least he can do to help him out. Kang takes the keys and hits the road, calling his students while he makes his way over. The kids are absolutely hyped that their favorite teacher is actually coming to meet them. He checks if they need anything and asks if the whole group is together right now. Jinsu explains that one of the twins, Unio, caught a fever and had to stay back at the inn alone. They will be back at the inn in an hour, and Kang tells them that the timing works. But when he asks what snacks they want, they start screaming requests so loud that Kang is forced to just hang up the phone. Still, he caught the word beef though, and decides to hit the supermarket for some snacks and drinks first. That is when you and I see him hit a total traffic jam, leaving him wondering what is wrong. He eventually hits a checkpoint. But these aren't regular cops. The area is crawling with heavily armed soldiers instead. He pulls up and asks a soldier why the traffic is backed up like this. The soldier explains that a monster escaped during a messy raid at a nearby dungeon portal. Apparently, the hunters on site failed to contain the beast and let it slip away. Now the whole area is under lockdown. Kang doesn't think much of it until he realizes Unio is alone at that inn. Kang quickly asks about the actual range of the lockdown, and the soldier confirms the entire district is shut down. The soldier asks if he lives inside the perimeter of the current lockdown zone. He says no, but someone is at an inn inside. The soldier tells him he should call Unio. After a few rings, Unio finally picks up her phone. Voice trembling with fear, he asks exactly where she is right now. Unio reveals she is still at the inn, and Kang urges her to listen very carefully to him. He explains that a monster escaped a nearby portal and the whole district has been evacuated. Kang urges her to get out immediately since the entire area is going to be silent. The soldiers name the escapee the Shadow Reaper, and Kang knows exactly how dangerous that name really is. Essentially, the Shadow Reaper is a B-rank dungeon boss monster. It possesses stealth abilities and massive power, making it one tricky beast to face. Kang repeats his warning, telling Unio not to leave the inn so the Reaper doesn't spot her. Just then, Unio asks if the Shadow Reaper carries a large scythe and wears a black robe. Kang confirms this, thinking Unio actually paid attention in class for once. However, Unio tells him he is wrong because she is literally staring right at the Shadow Reaper. She adds that it is going to be really hard to avoid this monster now. Kang panics hearing this and starts demanding more details from Yunio immediately. Unio then tells the teacher that she is not the only one in the area. Turns out some kids are hiding behind a car after failing to evacuate with everyone else. The Shadow Reaper is standing right behind the car where those kids are hiding. Terrified, one of the children makes a tiny sound, catching the full attention of the Shadow Reaper. The Reaper raises its scythe to slash the kids, but Yunio fires an energy blast to distract it. Yunio tells Kang he needs to get to her, and he needs to be fast. She lets her teacher know she won't be able to run for long with this fever messing her up. Before Kang knows it, he loses reception with Yuno and starts screaming into the phone, trying to reach her. Kang turns to the soldiers, saying that while he is a teacher, he is also a hunter with the Haeyang Guild. He asks the soldiers if there is any way for him to get through this traffic. Since he is a hunter, the soldiers tell him he is free to pass through. But since the traffic is so bad, he might have to wait for the cars ahead of him to move out, instead of waiting around for all those cars ahead of him to move. Kang spots a root in the bushes and points to it, letting the soldiers know he is going there. Meanwhile, Guangho and the team are celebrating after a successful expedition in the dungeons. Guangho is enjoying some beer and invites Jai to join him, who reluctantly accepts, even though she does not actually drink beer. She claims she was just thirsty for anything after that 3-day marathon. Guangho is glad Kang is helping, because now he can pay off his car loan in no time. He even sees himself getting rich before long. Apparently, he bought the car on a 36-month installment plan. Since Kang helps them clear dungeons faster, he knows he is going to earn a lot. Guangho believes that Kang is currently safe with his students. Unknown to him, Kang has turned his car into an off-road beast to clear a path through the terrain. At the same time, Yunio is desperately trying to outrun the Shadow Reaper hunting her. She remembers what Kang told them in class about avoiding the urge to be a hero because it causes more problems. Back then, Yunio asked what they should do in situations where they had no choice. Kang told them to assess their surroundings and then immediately make a run for it. Yunio questions why they need to assess the area if they are just going to run anyway. Kang's reply: "This helps you know exactly where to run to increase your survival chances." Kang also has a habit of making his students run every single day without fail. Yunio and the others have always questioned his decision to make them run daily. But now that she's cornered and fleeing from the terrifying Shadow Reaper, she realizes that Kang was actually trying to prepare them for moments just like this. She narrowly avoided death, all thanks to the intensity of Kang's teachings. Yunio moved at the perfect moment to avoid being impaled by the monster's scythe. Yunio knows just how lethal Shadow Reapers are. She considers her narrow escape a total miracle. Looking back, she sees the kids she just saved. This sight reminds her why she chose to become a hunter in the first place. Initially, she only joined the Hunter Academy because her sister was there too. Her sister was completely shocked the day she found out Yunio came to the academy because of her. Her sister then reminds her of a childhood memory she had long since forgot. Apparently, when they were much younger, Yunio watched documentaries about families who lost everything to these monsters. Deeply moved by those stories, Yunio vowed to become a hunter and prevent such tragedies from happening. Yunio doesn't remember that vow, but her sister never forgot that promise. That is why she became a hunter to protect her sibling. Unio knows she could have escaped safely if she had just ignored those kids. But she knows she couldn't face her sister if she returned home alone. Unio screams at the kids to find shelter while she lures the monster away. Suddenly, Uno notices the monster has suddenly disappeared. Uno stops to assess the situation, finally remembering that Shadow Reapers are feared specifically because of their elusive nature. Before she knows it, the Shadow Reaper appears behind her. Yunio is trapped in the monster's shadow, and there is no escape for her. She can only watch as the Shadow Reaper raises its lethal scythe, ready to end her. Suddenly, Kang appears, driving recklessly toward them and slamming his car into the Shadow Reaper. 3 minutes earlier, Kang was busy tracking down Yunio's position using his Kai. Using his ki, he is able to distinguish between the humans and that specific monstrous figure. Kong believes nothing bad will happen to Yunio since she is part of the original story. However, he remembers things are not adding up lately, like Sora leaving Anta's or Isil joining the school. Kong believes that the actions he has taken might cause a butterfly effect, making Yunio's future totally unpredictable now. Unwilling to accept this reality, Kong floors it, focusing his ki to track the monster. The second he locks onto the Shadow Reaper, he pushes the car to its absolute limit through the trees, crashing directly into the Shadow Reaper. Kong leaps from the car and charges straight toward the Shadow Reaper. He is furious that a monster would dare try to hurt his student. He strikes the Shadow Reaper with such rage that it is hurled to the ground. Kong looks like a terrifying villain before he prepares to finish the Reaper with his bare hands, which he charges with a massive blast of energy. Unio witnesses this, left totally stunned. Kong ends up in the water next to the monster's corpse, finally emerging from the depths. Kong lets out a massive breath, relieved he made it just in time to rescue her. If he had been even 60 seconds later, his student would have been a goner for sure. Kong hauls himself out of the water, casually asking Yunio if she is doing all right. Before he can blink, the girl lunges into his arms, eyes overflowing with hot, salty tears. It finally hits him. She was absolutely terrified through this whole intense ordeal. She acted brave for the kids, but she is still just a girl. He tells her not to cry. Sniffling, Yunio points toward the river, reminding him that the car is currently sitting at the bottom. Kong just pats her head with a smile. It is just a hunk of metal after all. The only thing that actually matters to him is that she is safe and sound now. Back at the house, the owner is snoring away, blissfully unaware his car is now a submarine. Word of the Shadow Reaper's defeat spreads like wildfire, all thanks to the kids who ran for help. Minutes later, military trucks and medics swarm the area. Our duo sits on the back of an ambulance to rest. Kong asks if she wants to call her parents, but Yunio immediately shuts that down. She is worried they will drag her home and ruin the rest of her trip if they find out. He gets it. He gives her a nod, calling her a true hero for what she did. Still, he cannot help but worry about how close she came to getting seriously hurt. But Yunio just smiles and reminds her teacher that he was there to save her. Kong starts teasing her, asking what her plan was if he had been even 1 minute late. She just laughs it off, choosing to tease her handsome teacher right back instead. She hops off the ambulance, waving goodbye and promising to see him at the finish line later. She shouts a quick thanks, but before Kong can follow, a police officer blocks his path. The officer informs him that the cleanup crew has officially recovered the Shadow Reaper's corpse. They ask which major guild he belongs to, only to find out he is just a school teacher. The officer is stunned. He gives Kong a sharp salute, clearly impressed by his raw strength. He admits that if Kong hadn't stepped in, this whole city would have been in major trouble. Kong shrugs it off like it is no big deal, but the officer isn't having it. He insists this is a huge win and tells Kong he needs to come to headquarters. He needs an official report on the battle, urging the teacher to follow him to the station. It will be quick, he promises. Kong sighs and decides to just get it over with. He expects a 5-minute talk, but he could not have been more wrong about that. Suddenly, he is being grilled by the governor, the chief of police, and the local leaders. Even the guild master responsible for the monster's escape is there, looking totally ashamed. Kong is annoyed. Why did they have to interview him 3 separate times for the same story? His mood finally shifts when he hears the magic word, compensation. Sweet, sweet money is coming. Basically, the negligent guild is buying the Reaper's body and throwing in a massive cash reward for Kong. But wait, there is more. They even promised to buy a brand new car for Guangho since his was currently underwater. On top of the cash, the governor wants to give Kong a Public Righteous Person award. Kong loves the money part, but he wants absolutely nothing to do with that award. The governor keeps pushing, insisting that a hero of his caliber deserves the highest recognition. But Kong knows better. A public award puts a massive target on his back for his enemies. He tells the governor to give the medal to Yunio instead, since she lured the beast away. Finally, the governor agrees to the switch, and with that, the meeting ends. Stick with me because this trip is about to get wild. The officer offers Kang a ride. Kang's first priority: checking if the butcher shop is open so his students can finally eat beef. Before long, Kang reunites with his students, beef in hand. They don't waste a second grilling it up and diving right in. Kang watches from a distance, proud of how well they're doing. The students offer him a place to stay. He tries to politely decline. But they won't hear it. Tomorrow, they're all hitting the beach together. Kang finally gives in, even suggesting they play some board games together. The next morning, it's nothing but sun and sand for the crew. He relaxes on a beach chair while the students splash around. You and I both know it's unreal. They pulled an all-nighter, and they're still going strong with endless energy. He's already mentally adding many more laps to their training once the new semester finally starts up. Right then, Jin-soo and the guys cook up a plan. They walk up to their teacher and ask if he's bored out of his mind. Kang tells them he's perfectly fine right where he is. But the students have other ideas. They all lunge for him at once, but he's too fast. He effortlessly vanishes from the chair, leaving them grabbing at nothing but empty air. These kids just don't quit. Kang remains a total ghost as they continue their hopeless chase. He casually reminds them that they're still miles away from catching him. He grabs Jin-soo to help get drinks, leaving Yunio in charge of the group. Yun-soo is absolutely floored when she hears this. She calls him out for favoritism, but he just tells her to behave like her sister. Kang starts walking away. He tells them to stay put. Jin-soo asks if he's really leaving the girls all by themselves, and Kang just nods. Jin-soo is just glad he's on the teacher's good side for once. With the guys gone, Yunio comes up with a brutal way to keep order. She places cups of sand on their arms, ordering them not to move an inch. The girls are fuming, but since Yunio is the boss right now, they're stuck. As if things aren't already bad enough for the girls, things get worse. Some creepy guys show up on the beach and immediately start circling the girls. They try to act smooth, asking the girls to hang out. The girls just give them a look of pure, unadulterated disgust. But these dudes won't take a hint and keep pushing their luck with sweet talk. Finally, the girls admit they're still minors. Even that doesn't stop these creeps. They offer them drinks, but the girls aren't touching a single one of them. One guy gets bold and grabs the brown-haired girl's arm. She snaps, twisting his arm in a flash and imagining herself tearing through the whole crowd like a total beast. See, hunters face major trouble if they fight normal civilians. That includes trainees too, since their power is on a whole different level. In the end, turns out she kept her cool. That entire epic beatdown was actually just her vivid imagination running wild. She even tells one of these guys she has already visualized beating him to a pulp, but he just won't listen. The girl really wishes she could just move right now, because she would have absolutely wrecked these annoying delinquents. Right then, Kang returns to the beach, and he is pretty shocked to see these random dudes bothering his students. Kang cannot believe it. He was gone for only 10 minutes, and everything has already gone completely sideways. The leader of the delinquents spots Kang and starts walking over like he is some big-shot mafia boss. He immediately begins mocking Kang's face, claiming he looks way too much like a regular student. Kang keeps his cool and tries to talk some sense into the guy nicely at first. But this dude is so incredibly obnoxious that he is making it impossible for Kang to just walk away. Kang tells the guy to get lost already, since the girls clearly have zero interest in him. Kang calls him a pathetic loser. And that is the breaking point. The guy thinks Kang is just acting tough for the girls and decides to teach him a lesson. He tries to grab Kang, but Kang instantly catches his arm and twists it, sending him into a world of pure agony. Another delinquent rushes in, but Kang just casually dodges him while still enjoying his popsicle. Total boss move. Kang then starts reciting the school's Article 10 for them, which basically states that he is obligated to protect his students from any outside danger. The last guy of the bunch finally realizes they are dealing with a real hunter, so he quickly pulls out his phone to call the police, claiming that a hunter is out here attacking innocent civilians. Kang strikes his pressure points instantly and takes the phone, telling him he would be more than happy to help call the cops. The delinquents realize they are completely screwed and try to bolt, but Kang isn't letting them go that easily. Luckily, Kang's police buddy shows up right on time, and Kang gives him a quick rundown of the situation. Kang has already neutralized them so effectively that there is absolutely no way they can escape. After taking the official report, the officer rounds up the delinquents and shoves them straight into the patrol car. The officer promises Kang that they will take care of these losers and tells Kang to go back to enjoying his well-deserved vacation on the island. Once the police are gone, Jin-soo is totally shocked that their teacher actually knows a real police officer. And Kang explains he just happened to meet him by chance after that whole Shadow Reaper incident. This makes Kang look like an absolute legend to his students, as they all start showering him with praise. Kang tries to leave, but the students aren't having it and insist he plays with them. He finally gives in, and they all rush to the water. Uno is the only one who stays behind, and that is when she notices a lady approaching Kang. This lady tells Kang that she has actually been watching him from a distance for quite a while. With her face turning bright red, she tells Kang that he is a seriously cool guy. Then she asks for his number. Kang is absolutely floored when he hears this. He did not see it coming. He is left so incredibly stunned that he literally has no idea how to even process what just happened. He doesn't even know what to say. And he starts stuttering like crazy before he even gets a chance to try and save the situation. Suddenly, Yunio grabs him by the arm and drags him away after telling the lady that Kang is already seeing someone. Kang tries to protest because Yunio is literally about to destroy his only chance at a love life. But Yunio doesn't give a damn and keeps dragging her teacher away as fast as she can. Once they are far enough away, Yunio turns around and sticks her tongue out to mock the other lady. Kang begs Yunio to let him go, but she refuses, knowing he will just run straight back to that lady. Honestly, Kang has to admit that she is not exactly wrong about that one. Right at that moment, the lady pulls out her phone. You and I know she is up to no good as she calls someone mysterious. It turns out the person on the other end is none other than the former spear instructor. Jung. This guy has a massive grudge against Kang and is ready to do anything to ruin his life. Shortly after, Kang and his team begin making preparations to head back to Seoul. They sent the kids ahead already, while the adults stay behind to wrap things up. As promised, Gwangho scores a sweet new ride. Kang and the crew also team up with a bunch of A-rank hunters who just got back. Together, they raid a massive A-rank portal. Meanwhile, Yunio receives the Brave Citizen Award on behalf of Kang. However, even though the report mentions Kang was the one who actually took down the monster, the public spotlight stays fixed on Yunio. When Shunhwa is finally ready to leave, she promises to cook Yasel an incredibly nice and delicious meal for their next meeting. Youngik also gives Kang props for his help, admitting he totally underestimated him at first. Jongik then warns Kang that no matter how hard he tries to keep his true power a secret, the entire world will eventually find out. He tells him to be ready for the day that happens. Jong-sik then pushes him to ensure that the very next time they meet, his official rank finally matches his skills. Kang just smiles, promising to do his absolute best. And with that, Kang and his squad head back to Seoul. Meanwhile, Youngik is holding an S-rank file, already suspecting that Kang is actually an S-rank level hunter. Right when he arrives back in Seoul, Kang wastes no time visiting his master. He says he is sorry for being so late. He tells the old man that he just had a mountain of work to handle. Cho sees Kang's new tan and just assumes he has been working hard under the hot sun. Little does he know, Kang was actually relaxing under an umbrella at the beach. Cho is shocked by all the supplies Kang brought, figuring the kid is about to vanish for weeks again. Kang promises the old man he is staying put and will be hanging around much more often. He mentions to Cho that his license exam is coming up the very next day. but he will definitely be back in a few days to check on him. Once the new semester starts, though, he will only be able to visit once a week. After that, Cho mentions he is about to make some ramen and asks if he wants any. But Kang declines. He just collapses onto the ground, exhausted, telling the old man to enjoy his meal. Lying in the snow, Kang realizes it has been 6 months since he met the old man. He knows the real story will finally begin in 1 year. And 6 months, that is when Xiang found the secrets that gave him strength. But he only discovered it 6 months later, which means there are at least 2 more years before he finds his own path. Still, Kang feels a heavy weight. You and I know Cho was never in the original story, so he might not have much time left. Suddenly, Cho catches Kang staring at him and assumes he is just eyeing the noodles he is currently cooking. He yells at Kang for staring at his food after saying he was not even hungry. Kang is forced to say once more that he is really not interested. Suddenly, Kang jumps back up and tells Cho he forgot something important back in the car. Kang sprints across the snowy field because he totally forgot about the liquor he left sitting in the trunk. Kang is already stressed out because he has to trek down this mountain just to get it. But honestly, he would do absolutely anything for his master's sake. He whips out his phone, and whoa, he is shocked to see his notifications are blowing up. 30 missed calls and 50 texts. He is just standing there, completely stunned. Part of him wants to believe this is just some massive, coordinated prank. Usually, he expects a few messages after coming out of a portal. That is normal. But the ones he is looking at right now, way too strange. He is still trying to make sense of it when Siora's call suddenly flashes on screen. Kang picks up, totally relieved, but the first thing Siora does is call him a scumbag. He is completely blindsided by the sudden hostility. But she does not stop, calling him a piece of trash and a massive disappointment. Kang is utterly confused, desperately asking her what on earth she is talking about. She just screams at him to stop playing dumb because he is literally all over the news. After calling him trash one last time, she just slams the phone down. He keeps shouting her name, but she is already gone. Now he is just standing there in total confusion, having no clue why she is attacking him. That is when he sees it, a news article about why he refused the Brave Citizen Award. Someone posted an article claiming he is in a secret relationship with Yuno, and that is why she collected the award for him. There's even a photo attached to the article showing Yuno hugging him. His eyes widen in pure shock as he realizes this fake news has already gone viral. And to make things even worse, Kang's face and identity are already circulating all over the internet. That photo of him and Yuno together in Jeju, it is trending everywhere right now. But here is the thing everyone is missing. The person driving this nasty agenda is actually that lady working for Jong. Kang roars in pure rage when he sees them calling him a shameless, predatory teacher. He is still trying to keep his cool when a call comes in from the vice principal. He answers, and the vice principal explains he has been trying to get a hold of him for quite some time. Kang just sighs, explaining he was stuck inside a portal without any reception. Meanwhile, Kim Mandong has the phone on speaker, sitting right there on his desk. Kang asks if he has seen the article, and the vice principal gives a heavy yes. But he quickly assures Kang that he knows he is not that kind of person. Still, the vice principal points out that the school's reputation is on the line since that sparring match was not handled very well. Regardless, Kim Mandong makes it clear that he is ready to back Kang up. Then he asks the big question, what is Kang actually planning to do? Kang's response, he is going to find the coward responsible and make them pay for insulting his student. He tells the vice principal to hang up so he can properly figure this mess out. Mandong understands, immediately dropping the call to let him work. Turns out, Yuno's mother was right there in the office, hearing the entire conversation. Mandong comforts the crying woman, promising her that Kang is a man of his word. As it happens, the name behind that hit piece article is Nam Jae-min. But Kang is stumped. That name never appeared anywhere in the original story at all. Either way, he is absolutely livid that some random nobody just turned his life upside down. He realizes his own choices actually triggered a hidden side story. Talk about ripple effects. Right on cue, the system pings. He just unlocked a quest titled The Shameless Teacher. Meanwhile, Jang is glued to his screen, spamming articles nationwide to make sure Kang has absolutely nowhere left to hide. But back to Kang. He is absolutely fuming, and whoever is behind this is dead meat once he finally finds them. Cho, he is just vibing with his ramen. When Kang returns to those snowy plains, he drops off the liquor but tells his master he has to head out immediately. No time for small talk. Cho is stunned by his student's sharp mind, and Kang promises he will be back next week. Just as he is about to portal out, Cho stops him in his tracks. He tells him not to kill anyone. See, Cho can read the hidden fury written all over Kang's face. Kang takes the advice to heart and finally heads out for real. While cruising down the highway, Kang starts mentally listing everyone who was with him back in Jeju. He knows for a fact that Sanhwa and Isol are the only two people who can clear his name. But here is the problem. People always believe what they see over what they actually hear. Now, he has to figure out how to explain those leaked photos of him and Yunio looking cozy. Since the first picture shows some soldiers, he considers tracking down the officers in charge to get their statements. He knows it is going to be a massive headache to find them all, but he does not care. The real kicker is that shot of him locking arms with Unio on the beach. It only happened for a split second, so he is shocked someone managed to snap the perfect frame. He realizes that whoever took that photo was clearly trying to manufacture a fake scandal from the very start. Kang tries calling the reporter who posted the story, but the line keeps dropping every single time. Despite the massive stress, he remembers he needs to get his hunter's license renewed before anything else. He walks into the building and finds it packed with hunters either prepping for raids or doing paperwork. With only his sword at his side, Kang walks up to the desk and asks for a license renewal. The attendant asks for some ID, and the second he sees the name on the card, he recognizes Kang. Suddenly, every hunter in the room is staring, whispering about why this piece of trash even showed up. Kang calmly tells the attendant that he already checked the schedule and saw an open slot for the test right now. He is ready. The guy at the desk says he has no problem signing him up for the renewal test. But he warns him that the other hunters are beyond pissed and might not want to work with him. Basically, nobody wants to be on a team with someone labeled as trash. These hunters have already done their homework on Kang, too. They found out he never even went to a proper hunter school. Everything is stacked against him right now. Kang cannot believe his face is already this famous, even among people he has never met before. His image has been plastered everywhere with a disgusting label attached. Every single gossip site and every blogger was having a field day, sharing Kang's photos across the internet. Kang realizes that if things keep going like this, you and I know he will be hounded and harassed for the rest of his life. All right, you and I are about to see what happens when you push a sleeping dragon way too far. Honestly, he is more than ready to just go solo if that is what it takes. Finally, the clerk assigns him to Team E, but when they find out, man, they are not happy. They start protesting immediately, telling the attendant that they do not need this trash hunter on their team. The attendant tries his best to get the hunters to just settle down. Since Kang promised to go solo, the clerk tells them to just ignore him like he isn't there. He leads Kang to the portal, warning him he must clear it to get his license renewed today. Apparently, it is a B-rank portal, and Kang is the first one in. He thanks the assistant and steps inside. The clerk shouts after him, telling him not to leave the safe zone before his team arrives. But the team is so disgusted, they decide to take their sweet time before heading inside. They hate Kang so much that one of them is actually planning to bash his head inside the portal. Momentarily, 20 minutes pass before the clerk tells the rest of the group it's finally time to move out. He reminds them they only have 3 hours to finish the job. Now, this is where you and I get to see their jaws hit the floor. The sky is already clear, and it is only the 20-minute mark, just 20. They cannot believe a B-rank 6-person portal was cleared in under 20 minutes. It is just impossible. While they are standing there confused, Kang suddenly walks out from behind some nearby bushes. He is drenched in blood from head to toe, and his sword is stained bright red. Kang walks right up. He confronts the rank leader, scolding the man for judging him when he does not even know the truth. The rank is stunned. He asks Kang if he actually cleared the dungeon alone. Kang just shrugs, saying he was in a rush, so he had to wipe them out quickly. He tells them the monsters are dead, so the boring cleanup and disposal is all theirs now. The leader finally realizes Kang is seriously overpowered, especially since he did not even bring any gear. Just then, Kang leans in close with an aura that screams pure terror. He tells him plainly that he wants 50% of all the money made from this dungeon. He is leaving for other business, so he demands they wire the payment to his account. His voice is bone-chilling. He warns the leader that he knows the value of the loot, so they better not play any tricks. With that final warning, Kang just turns around and walks away. One orange-haired guy starts barking at Kang for being so disrespectful to their squad leader. He asks if he should go drag that guy back for a lesson. But they don't realize. The leader can actually feel Kang's true power, and he wants absolutely zero trouble with that monster. He tells the loudmouth to just let him go. Outside, the attendant is totally shocked to see Kang walking out. Since he is drenched in blood, the guy immediately assumes Kang did something horrible to the rest of the team. Kang tells him to relax. The rest of the team is just busy. They're just cleaning up. The attendant reveals how stunned he is, that Kang cleared that dungeon in under 30 minutes. You and I are looking at the fastest record in over 5 whole years. Kang asks him who actually held the old record. Turns out a major guild once cleared it in 25 minutes. Kang just crushed that. Believe it or not, Eyal set a solo record, clearing the dungeon in just 40 minutes. When Kang hears this, he is totally floored, realizing Eyal must have pushed himself way beyond the limit just to finish as fast as possible. Still, Kang feels a bit better now that he has finally unleashed his stress on those poor monsters. Once he finishes up his business, Kang leaves, telling the attendant to watch the team before immediately putting a call through to Zuna. Remember, he already promised her that he would call the moment his exam was over. Xianha is genuinely stunned to hear that Kang is finished with everything already. Kang explains that he really had to hurry given the current crazy circumstances. He then asks Hua if he can finally meet that reporter friend she mentioned before. Hua promises it is a go, assuring him that she is going to be a huge help. It is not long before Kang pulls up to Zunha's place. Xianha greets him at the door, joking that he already looks like he has lost some weight. She asks if he has eaten so she can cook him something, but he says he is fine. She then rushes him inside, promising that her friend already has all the materials ready for them. Kang heads in and finally meets Hua's reporter friend, Lim Unjai. Lim Unjai introduces herself, mentioning that she works for the Dongguk Daily newspaper. Lim admits she has heard a ton about Kang because Hua just will not stop talking about him. But before she can spill more, Hua suddenly punches her right in the knee, sending her crashing to the floor in total pain. Hua just smiles, telling Kang she's going to grab him something cold to drink. After she prepares tea for everyone, Lim asks point-blank if he is dating Yunio, but Kang swears on his life that he is innocent. Lim then asks if he has any witnesses to back up his story and debunk those rumors. Hua speaks up first, telling Lim she knows exactly why Kang really went to Jeju Island. Not only that, she even has a video recording ready to go. We see Jong Seik and Yul from the Hang Guild actually vouching for Kang. Kang is shocked to find out that 2 high-level hunters actually have his back like this. In that video, they explain why Kang was on Jeju Island and confirm the fact that they leave work together every single day. Hua assures Kang that they are ready to testify in person if this whole mess ends up going to a courtroom. Lim is blown away, realizing this video is the concrete proof needed to show Kang wasn't there for romance. Right then, They show Kang one more piece of evidence that could help, a video of Kim Man-dong himself. He tells the world that he has total trust in Kang. He clarifies that Kang didn't turn down the award to hide some non-existent romantic getaway. He mentions how much attention Kang got back when the school started its YouTube channel. While some of it was good, most of that attention turned out to be really negative. The vice principal says people thought Kang was an easy target because he isn't from a hunter school. This actually caused the school to get flooded with dual requests, and because of that YouTube drama he faced before. Man-dong completely understands why Kang would want to stay out of the spotlight for now. Kang is stunned while watching, never expecting Kim Man-dong to go this far to defend him. Lim tells Kang that these videos alone should be more than enough to prove his innocence. "All right, you and I are watching," Lim tell Kang that she's publishing that article immediately. She promises him the misunderstanding will be totally gone before the new semester resumes. Before Lim leaves, she mentions she contacted the news outlet that first posted the article. They revealed that a reporter named Nam Jin Min wasn't the one who wrote it. Apparently, someone actually hacked into their system to post the scandalous article. Lim asks Kang if he has made any enemies lately, but nothing comes to mind. She warns him to stay alert because the next attack might be something physical. Lim basically urges him to be careful because she hates seeing him as a headline. Kang thanks her for the advice, and their meeting finally concludes. Later that night, Kang lies in bed, relieved that Yunio's name has finally been cleared. However, he is still worried about who exactly is trying to hurt him. He hates that they dragged an innocent young student into this whole ugly mess. He originally joined the school for an easy life, but now he actually cares. Just then, he gets a notification on his phone. It turns out to be a message of solidarity from all his students. They all send images of where they are holding onto Kang, or claim they're his girlfriend too, if a photo with Uno makes them a couple. Jin's Sue shows a photo of them eating ice cream, calling it their perfect love life. Kang sees this and is completely moved to tears. He realizes he only became a teacher because he wanted an easy life. But somehow the students have become part of him, even if he feels he hasn't done much. He can't believe they are supporting him, even if the whole world turns away. It is not only the students, but also the vice principal, Seora, and everyone he's met. Kang cries openly, admitting he must have lived a good life for them to stand up. Just then he gets a text from Seora, apologizing for calling him total trash. She then tells Kang she has managed to help in her own way. She leaves an address and password in the text, telling him that whatever he finds there will definitely solve most of his problems. But get this, Seora turned into Catwoman and managed to track down Jong and her accomplice. She tied them up in a warehouse after shaving their heads and is waiting for him. Soon enough, Kang arrives at the warehouse to find Jong and that accomplice. The lady from the beach is there too, tied to a chair with duct tape over her mouth. Kang sees a laptop on the table and uses Seora's password to check it. He is horrified, realizing Jong cooked up fake images and articles to destroy him. All because Jong was still bitter about losing the duel and had been acting completely reckless. Kang wastes no time before calling the police to the scene. As the police lead Jong toward the car, Jong snarls that he is coming back for him, and he is targeting everyone Kang loves first. That is it, Kang snaps. He lunges, grabbing Jong by the collar and daring the snake to try him again. At first, Kang promises to beat him within an inch of his life. But then his gaze gets cold. He warns him that if he even touches his people, he is going to send him straight to God for final judgment. Pure killing intent radiates off Kang like a physical weight. And for once, Jong is absolutely terrified. The cops have to physically haul Kang back before he rips the guy's head off right there. Later on, the news drops a bombshell. Kang is officially cleared of every single false accusation. With major figures backing him up, the public's hate for Kang flips to total respect overnight. Kang heads over to his master's place to fill the old man in on the chaos. Cho is just disappointed that everyone turned on Kang without waiting for a shred of proof. The master sighs, admitting that a nasty rumor is a truly dangerous weapon. He also notes how impressive it is that Kang's students went to such extremes to protect him. Kang just smiles, telling the old man he really lucked out with the people in his life. Even the school administration suggested he take a leave of absence for a while. But he refused. He did not want his kids worrying about him for another second. Cho praises his heart, reminding him to pay back that loyalty by being the best teacher possible. So Kang makes a request. He asks the old man if he knows the 3-talent sword method. It is a simple style built on the basics: horizontal cuts, vertical swings, and direct thrusts. Technically, it is just a bottom tier martial art, but Kang thinks it is the perfect foundation for his students. He is curious if the master has any deeper insights into the technique. Cho shakes his head. He has never heard of anything called the 3-talent sword method. And he wonders why Kang is distracted when he has not even mastered his current training yet. After Kang explains the movements, Cho realizes he is just talking about standard basic sword cuts. The master was only confused because Kang used such a fancy name for basic drills. Kang then asks if the old man knows any other hidden techniques aside from his current one. Cho says yes, but he wants to know why Kang is suddenly so hungry for more skills. Kang reveals that his goal is to pass them down to his students so he can finally give them something truly special. Cho disagrees, pointing out that teaching them combat arts is not his only responsibility. Then, Cho remembers something he learned from a master at Wiewang Mountain many years ago. Kang is instantly hooked. What kind of secret could it be? Cho explains that the man was a genius with medicinal herbs and natural healing, which allowed him to brew some absolutely legendary medicinal potions. Apparently, he was told he could pass the secret recipe down if he ever found a worthy disciple. Kang is shocked. Why did the old man not give this to him from the start? Cho just laughs, saying Kang's body was already built way past the point of needing it. Kang assumes it is just some energy tonic, but Cho quickly corrects him, explaining that while it will not boost inner energy, the physical effects are still mind-blowing. Cho lets him know it is surprisingly easy to prepare, which makes it even more valuable. Cho thinks it is the single best gift Kang could ever give to his dedicated students. Cho asks if he is ready to learn the secret, and Kang does not hesitate. Once he returns to class, the herb is the first thing he shares with his students. One single sip, and they're gagging. The kids are literally screaming that it tastes like pure poison. Kang is just standing there, baffled that these brats are puking up their own salvation. When Jinsu tries to whine, Kang shuts him down instantly with an extra lap of running. He lays down the law. For the next 2 months, they don't have a choice. Every single morning starts with a big, warm cup of that nasty medicinal brew. But then he drops a curveball. If they really want to quit, they're free to walk. Hearing those words from Kang, Jinsu's gears start turning. Maybe this gross stuff is actually the key to getting stronger. With the day's training done, and no boring lectures on the schedule for once, Kang tells them to head home. Class president Young Minhai leads the charge, and every student stands up, moving like a disciplined unit. They bow to Kang, begging their teacher to stick with them, just like he did last semester. Suddenly, the compliments start flying, telling him he's way too handsome and talented to ever think about quitting. That's when it hits him. These kids were actually terrified that their teacher was leaving the school. Once they realize Kang is staying put, the tension breaks and they finally head out of the room. But as soon as the classroom empties out, Seora suddenly makes an appearance. Kang is caught off guard. He wants to know exactly why she's showing her face now. It turns out the Anta's organization is officially obsessed with Kang, and they've sent Seora back again. Kang expected this. He's been making way too much noise lately to stay off their radar. Feeling the walls start closing in, Kang starts rattling off a specific list of names for Seora. She's confused at first, until she realizes these are the secret power players within Antas itself. His message is simple: tell Antas to back off, or he'll leak every single one of them. Seora is completely stunned. She demands to know how a simple teacher could possibly know these secrets. Kang just smiles, telling her he did some solo investigating on the side. He tells her not to worry. Aunties won't touch her because they're terrified of him. Deep down, he remembers Yoonguk's warning. He can't hide from this forever. It finally sinks in. He's built so many deep connections that there's just no going back to his old life. The original plot is dead. Kang accepts that his every move has fundamentally rewritten the entire story. With everything shifted now, Kang decides to stop clinging to the original script and just start carving his own path. Seora is listening to him. But it all sounds like total nonsense to her, and Kang isn't in the mood to explain. Instead, he just tells her that he's genuinely excited to start this new semester with her. Kang walks away with a grin. His real life is finally about to begin, and he's ready. It doesn't take long for the students to realize that gross medicinal herb is actually a total game changer. They even gave the tonic a new nickname. They started calling it the bitter water. Suddenly, their grades start climbing, all thanks to that nasty medicinal brew. Since it tastes so foul, the kids used it to stay awake during late-night study sessions and fix their digestion issues. By the time midterm exams rolled around, their physical stamina was through the roof. Shockwaves hit the school when the sword class pulled off an absolute, crushing result. Now, every other teacher is begging Kang to tell them what he fed those kids to transform them. Seems like these students are already reaching the level of the third-year Ranger majors. Kang loves the praise, obviously, but at the same time, he is thinking ahead. He plans to push them even harder now that their strength has leveled up. And just like that, the second semester was coming to a close. On their very last day, Kang warns them not to slack off during break. Why? Because a massive midterm evaluation is waiting after the holidays. Announcement finished, the students waste no time scattering and heading for home. But wait, Kang notices that Yunio and Yunu are still hanging back. He wonders why they are not leaving, so they reveal they have something important to discuss with him. The two tell Kang that they plan on applying for the upcoming martial arts tournament, and they really want to hear their teacher's take on it. See, this tournament is open to every student from every hunter school across the entire country. Since there are no rank divisions, the third years usually dominate the top spots. Kang suddenly remembers this tournament being mentioned at the faculty meeting a few days ago. But it had completely slipped his mind. He just never expected his first-year students to be so interested in a competition this big. The girls want to sign up early, especially since the preliminaries kick off in November. They are feeling torn, which is why they need Kang's honest advice on whether this is a good move. Kang warns them that facing off against experienced second and third years will be a massive uphill battle. The girls totally agree, worrying that they might end up ruining his reputation if they lose the competition. Kang is genuinely shocked. He immediately demands to know why they would even say that. It turns out, back when Kim Sejin was a freshman, she tried to enter, but her instructor at the time blocked her, telling her it would be a total disgrace to his name if she entered only to lose. But Kim Sejin didn't quit. She actually managed to get direct approval from the vice principal later. Kang is genuinely impressed. That grit is clearly one of the reasons she became the student council president. He then tells the girls to go ahead and register. He honestly could not care less about his own trash reputation. They are thrilled. Kang just has one condition: they better pass those preliminaries. He also warns them not to miss the special training classes being organized for the tournament. The girls are caught off guard, asking if he will be the one leading those sessions. Kang tells them he has no clue who is in charge, but it definitely is not him. They demand to know why he is not teaching them, so Kang reminds them that he is still just a rookie. They will probably pick a veteran teacher from the third-year staff instead. The girls are not happy. To them, Kang is the best swordsmanship teacher in the whole school. Kang knows they are just trying to flatter him into taking the job. But he assures them he has zero interest. Why? Because he is going to be busy. Special classes in the evenings and on weekends. Yeah, that is a hard no for Kang. With a big, bright smile, Kang tells them he will submit their names to the vice principal right away. Now, all they have left to do is prepare for the big fight. Kang heads to the vice principal's office, but another major shock is waiting for him there. The vice principal has actually appointed Kang to take charge of the special classes. Kang immediately tries to wiggle out of this massive responsibility. He reminds the principal he is just a rookie and more experienced teachers should step up. But Kim Mandong isn't budging. Kang is the one for the job. It seems Mandong asked every other teacher, but they all turned the offer down. Mandong realizes Kang is being a bit difficult. So he suggests they strike a deal, just like they did last time. Kang fires back that Mandong didn't even honor their last agreement. He is pretty doubtful about making another deal with Mandong after that. Mandong then drops a huge bombshell. He knows Kang hasn't met the requirements for a rank promotion test yet. Kang admits it, but says he is already aiming for next year instead. Mandong just smiles, offering him a shortcut to that rank promotion today. Hearing this, Kang is suddenly very interested. A recommendation from an S-rank hunter like him is all he needs to test early. And Mandong is absolutely sure that Kang is going to pass. This deal is honestly way too sweet for Kang to turn down. He knows that becoming an A-rank hunter means much more money. Kang asks to adjust the schedule since he won't be available every day. Once they are in agreement, Kang finally heads out of the office. He accepted the offer mainly because he knew Mandong might be useful later. Kang stares at the list and realizes 2 current applicants are first years. But the last student, Kim Sijin, is actually from the 3rd-year class. Since Kang hasn't seen Kim Jin since their big duel, he just hopes that she is doing well for herself. Meanwhile, Kaimin is training like a demon. Later, Kang heads to the snowy plains. He shocks the old man by telling him he plans to train harder. He wonders why a guy who always skips training is suddenly asking for more. He even suspects he killed someone and is hiding from the authorities. Kang explains that he wants to get stronger than he ever originally intended, since he is finally making his own decisions now. Kang wants enough power to handle any potential blowback. He doesn't know when the world will fall into chaos, but he will protect his people. He then asks the old man if he can read writing from the outside world. Cho says yes, claiming it is not even difficult for him. Just then, Kang pulls out a swordsmanship textbook and tells him to take a look. Cho takes one look at this modern swordsmanship textbook and concludes it is absolute trash. These techniques aren't even worth being called third-rate martial arts, he says. Kang smiles, realizing that the old man thinks exactly like he does. He then tells the old man that staying in the snowy plains for the break is not just for himself. Wait for it, he came up with a plan while thinking about the special classes. Since Cho has fought against every kind of weapon imaginable, Kang mentions that there are also manuals covering all sorts of other weapons. He wants to know if learning from Cho will allow him to defeat every other weapon style. The old man hears this and grins, thinking that this kid has a very interesting plan in mind. Cho realizes that Kang is essentially asking him for a non-combat mental sparring match. This is a unique type of battle that takes place only through the use of words. It obviously does not improve physical skills like a real fight would, but it helps to find flaws and perfect one's overall martial theories. Kang realizes that if a legend like Cho helps him identify the weaknesses of modern martial arts, then he can teach those secrets. With this knowledge, Kang can then show the kids how to counter every single weapon. Kang is quite certain they will be unstoppable if they can master exactly what he plans to teach them. Without wasting any time, Kang and Cho dive straight into their training. During one of the sessions, Kang actually manages to sneak up behind Cho and try to land a hit. Even with the surprise attack, Cho is still able to block it, creating a massive blasting effect. This cycle continued for the entire holiday, as they trained while taking notes about the entire session. Just as usual, Kang still gets beaten up by his master for always acting like a total punk. The two of them bonded over everything including bowls of ramen, and Kang truly considers this a very enjoyable holiday. After the break, Kang finally gets to taste something other than ramen when he returns to the school's busy cafeteria. Kang is having a quiet moment to himself when Kim Jin suddenly shows up to greet him. Since the third years are the first to eat, it was inevitable that they would run into each other. They make their way to the training room, and Kim suggests that the two of them have a sparring match. Kang just declines, telling her his stomach will hurt since he just ate. Meanwhile, his troublesome students are already waiting for him inside. It turns out that Minhai and Jin's Sue also join the two sisters in applying for the competition. There are now a total of 4 first-year students and 1 third-year student. Kang is relieved that there are only 5 of them, a number he should easily be able to manage. Jin Soo asks if they are really having classes on weekends, and Kang confirms the bad news, telling him that the principal made the final order. So if he wants to complain, he knows exactly who to go to. While everyone else is complaining about the brutal schedule, Kim Seen is ready to even have classes on Sundays. Jin Soo just stares at the workaholic lady, asking her why she likes being such a pain. Minhai then raises her hand, suggesting they have more practical classes instead of just boring theory lessons. Kang lets them know that they will focus on sparring, but they cannot forget about the theoretical side. Kim Sane then raises her hand, asking if she can train alone away from the rest of the team. Kang can see right through her and knows she is desperate to be the best. He wonders who she is really trying to prove a point to during this upcoming competition. Kang then pulls out his new manual, and he hands it over to the kids. The textbook is titled The Countering Style. Kim was initially disappointed as she did not show any interest. But when she opened the book and realized what was packed inside, her mind was completely blown away. The others do not grasp the situation yet, as they think Kang is just trying to teach them how to use weapons other than swords. The kids start complaining, thinking they have to master every weapon and even magic style. But Kang just smiles. Apparently, Kim Sane is the only one who actually gets what's happening. He tells them to take a closer look at that book's title. Suddenly, it clicks. This isn't a manual for using weapons, it's about how to counter them perfectly. Kim realizes the potential. Master these techniques, and she'll be untouchable against any weapon in the world. She used to think hard work could bridge the gap between her and the teacher. Now she sees the truth. Kang is just a completely different breed of genius. A week into their special training, and things are getting serious. Kang decides to mix things up, theory on day 1, and intense sparring sessions the next. Aisal even jumps in to help push the kids to their absolute limits. Even Shunhwa is on standby, ready to heal the students whenever they're completely wiped out. Kang keeps this rotation, going to maximize their combat experience and growth. Meanwhile, the first years are heading to camp, and Kang's already dreaming of a peaceful vacation. Of course, the vice principal ruins everything. He demands Kang serve as the official training camp instructor. Kang tries to argue. He's just a swordsmanship coach, not a full-time homeroom teacher, right? But the vice principal isn't budging. He holds that precious recommendation letter over Kang's head. Left with no choice, Kang is forced to pack his bags for the camp. Hua asks if he's prepared the special herbal blends for the students, and he confirms. Kang knows. These herbs are vital for the kids' growth, while they're still in their prime developmental stage. Honestly, the changes in their bodies since they started drinking the herbs have been insane. After another exhausting sparring session, Isil offers to help clean up the mess, but Kang insists she's already done more than enough. He heads over to his locker to grab his gear and call it a day. But then Kim Seen appears behind him, totally startling the guy. He asks why she's still here, terrified she's about to ask for another brutal sparring match. Luckily, she isn't there to fight. She has something important she needs to tell him. With a hesitant look, she explains she won't be able to make it to Saturday's class. Kang is stunned. He immediately starts spiraling, wondering what could possibly be the reason behind this. Normally, he'd celebrate having one less student to deal with, but things have changed. He realizes just how passionate he's become about watching these students grow. Kim Sejin is even moved to tears while breaking the news to her favorite teacher. Kong tries to stay calm. It's just one Saturday. No big deal, right? The two sit outside to talk, and the only thing Kong can offer is his signature herbal drink. It turns out Kim Sejin is starting real-world hunts every single weekend from now on. Sejin admits she'd rather stay and learn from him, but the decision is out of her hands. She literally has no choice. Kong finds it weird. Practical lessons on a weekend? That's a direct violation of academy rules. But then, she mentions that her father is already handling the vice principal to make it official. Kong's skeptical. The vice principal is a stubborn man. Is her father actually close friends with him? That is, when she drops the bombshell, her father is actually the master of the legendary Ari Guild. Kong can't believe it. Another student with a massive family fortune. Figures. Sejun reveals her true goal isn't just winning this local martial arts tournament. She is only competing here to secure a golden ticket for the World Hunter Championship Under 19. The WHCU 19, also known as the World Hunter Championship Under 19, is basically the ultimate stage for every aspiring hunter under the age of 19. Kong notes that if Sejun wins this tournament, she will finally get her shot at that world title. He realizes she hasn't even cleared the first rounds here, yet she's already dreaming of the world stage. Still, he knows she is the real deal, a two-time back-to-back winner of the martial arts tournament. Because of that, everyone already expects her to sweep the competition and take the crown again this year. Sejun admits she went for the championship before, and Kong expects a glory story given her crazy skills. But then she drops a bombshell. She lost in the very first match. It turns out she was matched against the reigning champion, who absolutely crushed her without breaking a sweat. But she isn't making excuses. She believes she would have won if her own skills were actually up to par. Hearing this honesty, Kong gives her a gentle pat on the head. He is proud because most people would just make excuses. But Sejun always demands more from herself. Her face turns bright red at the sudden praise from her teacher. Kong stands up to leave, letting the girl process everything he just said. But he tells her to stay and enjoy the fresh air for a while. Before he goes, he tells her to see herself as a runner-up to the champ, not just some loser. He leaves her with a few encouraging words, making sure she does not feel discouraged by the past. Once he is gone, Sejun gets a call from her father, and her mood does a complete 180 into something dark. She tries to explain that she was busy with a counseling session, but it does not matter. Her father starts berating her, saying the only advice she ever needs should come directly from him and no one else. Sejun just stands there, disappointed and speechless. Her father is the master of the prestigious Ari's Guild. And as an S-rank hunter, he is a man of massive power and influence. In the original story, the guild's heir eventually leaves to start her own guild called Dawn. That heir's name was supposed to be Kim Sejun. She was a stubborn girl who hated her parents so much, she actually changed her entire identity. The original main character, Kim Doi, eventually joins this Dawn Guild as a student. And Sejun falls for him. Suddenly, everything clicks for Kong as he realizes what he has been missing. He wondered why Kim Sejun, despite being so incredibly talented, was never mentioned once in the original novel. He thought she was just some random impressive side character in this world. But no, Sejun is the one who eventually becomes Sejun and founds the legendary Dawn Guild. It is finally clear. Sejun is the female lead he has been looking for this whole time. He knows that if things keep going like this, her relationship with her father is doomed. The breaking point happens during the WHCU tournament coming up this January of the following year. Since she failed to perform, her father's harsh criticism will push her over the edge. Even Kong was blown away by this plot twist when he first read the original story. Kong's in total shock. How could such a nasty old man be the parent of his classmate? After Sejun dominated this year's martial arts tournament, Kong finally gets why she's been looking so anxious lately. He's the coldest, most ruthless man around. A brutal perfectionist ranked among the top 10 strongest warriors. This is Dian, an S-rank hunter known as the Sword King, and unfortunately for Sejun, her very own father. He's the ultimate helicopter parent, using his massive influence to suffocate his daughter's desperate search for independence. Kang admits he would have disappeared a long time ago if he had a father like that. Even if they eventually patched things up, this whole chapter just leaves a bad taste in Kang's mouth. Some things just can't be fixed once they're broken, and Kang knows it. Kang. He sees the crushing weight on her. She's even forced into brutal hunting drills on her weekends. Putting the pieces together, Kang realizes Sejun's drowning in work as a third-year student and the student council president. Kang can't believe she has zero time to rest between non-stop classes and grueling hunting practice every single weekend. He's genuinely worried about her, but hopes things will work themselves out even if he stays out of it. Kang visits Master Cho and opens up about the mess Sejun is in. The old man just shrugs, asking what Kang actually plans to do about it. Kang was looking for real advice, but all he's getting from Cho is just a classic sarcastic comeback. Cho asks, does he really think he can just step in and break someone else's family ties? Cho admits he's seen plenty of people crushed under that exact same kind of weight. Take the heir of the Namong family, for example. While Cho was a guest there, he simply corrected their fighting posture and then minded his own business. Kang's stunned by how cold Cho can be. But Cho points out that the guy never even asked for help. Then Cho asks the real question, did Sejun actually ask for help? The answer is no. Cho thinks she's just terrified of the fight ahead. But Kang isn't convinced. He thinks there's more to it. Cho snaps at him to be grateful. At least his own student is already a true warrior. Kang realizes Cho's right. Jumping in without being invited might just make things way worse for Sejun. He'd only be causing her more trouble. With the next tournament still a year away, Kang figures their relationship is still holding steady for now. Kang grumbles about a massive headache, but Cho tells him to grab his sword. A spar is the perfect cure for impatience. Kang begs the old man to take it easy. He's got a training camp to prepare for tomorrow. Cho can't believe Kang's already rushing off when he just arrived. But Kang explains that the teachers in charge of the training camp have to get there early. Since Kang's got such a packed schedule to handle, Cho thinks he has no time to worry about Sejun, but Kang still feels completely distracted by the situation. That is exactly why his own personal training has been slipping lately. He's been one busy guy ever since he took on all those extra classes. Plus, that a rank promotion test is coming up next Sunday. After this test, Kang decides he is treating Kim and Hong to a proper dinner. Honestly, his plate is overflowing with things to do right now. He feels his second life is even more chaotic than the first. Kang charges at Cho, and the sparring begins. His mind drifts, reflecting on every single thing he has achieved since his reincarnation. Since waking up in this body, it has been one crisis after another without a single moment of rest. He had already vowed to actually enjoy this second chance at life. But the world around him just won't give him the chance to relax. Still, that does not mean he hates it. Being busy was his choice, and his life feels meaningful now. But then, he wonders if Scene feels the same. Despite the trouble, he finally told Seor the truth after meeting Cho. Plus, that duel with the vice principal made him stronger, even if he walked away with a loss. Kang is just glad he grew powerful enough to actually save his student. He has met so many good people. Suddenly, Kang realizes his mind has become incredibly calm. Which is exactly what Cho meant when he told him to ditch that restless impatience. Suddenly, Kang realizes something is going horribly wrong inside his body. Before he can even react, he senses his internal energy spiraling completely out of control. Why is this happening? He barely has time to think before he crashes to his knees in agony. The pain is unreal, even worse than when Cho first forced his vessels open. It is the dreaded Kai deviation. His internal energy is going berserk, threatening to completely burn out his Danshin center. Because of this, the rogue energy escapes his Danshin and start surging up his spine instead of the meridians. Even through the blinding pain, Kong forces himself into a meditation pose to stabilize. He knows he has to grab this rampaging energy and guide it back into the right channels. Seconds later, a wave of pure relief washes over him as the pain vanishes instantly. Kong is left dazed as Cho approaches to congratulate him on his enlightenment. He just broke through another wall. Kang is stunned. This means his martial arts skills have officially reached a whole new realm. Cho knows he is confused about his internal energy, since he can no longer feel it, but he reassures him it has just moved to a new vessel. The old man is seriously impressed. Kong climbed another wall so fast, Cho honestly expected this breakthrough to take a lot longer. Even though the master acts like this, enlightenment is a massive deal. Kang does not feel any different at all. Cho explains that reaching a higher realm does not immediately change a person. There are still countless more realms for him to cross in the future. He tells him that among those stages, the secret to the supreme pinnacle is being totally free from worldly delusions. Even if he cannot fix every problem right now, he should not let them consume him. He just needs to accept the situation and embrace it as a part of his journey. Hearing this, Kong admits he feels strangely refreshed, and on top of that, he is absolutely starving. Cho isn't even shocked. I mean, the guy basically spent 8 full hours straight circulating his internal energy. Which is exactly why he is starving. Kang just screams in shock, who actually meditates for 8 hours straight. Even with the clock ticking away, Cho offers to boil some noodles so he can at least eat before he heads out. While slurping down the noodles, Kang realizes he has finally reached the early stage of the supreme pinnacle. But he is still unsure exactly how much his power has jumped. He would love to spar with Cho again, but the training camp schedule is calling. After finishing his food, Kang rushes off. After he leaves, Cho realizes he forgot to warn him about his newfound strength. Oh well, Cho figures nothing too crazy will happen, right? Sometime later, instructors from both schools are seen bickering over who gets to lead the training camp. School 2 wants the lead since School 1 lacks any A-rank teachers. Leading the charge is this incredibly annoying blonde teacher from School 2. He nominates Kim Jong-un from School 2 for the commander position, claiming they are easily the most qualified for the job. A debate breaks out. Why would they pick a rookie for this? While they are all shouting, Kang just stays silent in the back. He can't believe they have been wasting time on this for an hour already. Kang is basically regretting rushing over just to watch this kind of garbage. He's disappointed they're fighting over something like a commander title. He is honestly shocked that neither side is giving in. He had heard schools are obsessed with pride. But this, you and I can see this is just getting ridiculous. After they finish arguing so much, Blondie suggests a duel. Kang is actually fine with this since talking is useless, which means a duel is 100 times better than this. However, one buff guy doesn't think a duel is the right call. The blonde-haired man tells him to suggest any other alternative then. The dude then suggests an alternative. Each school should send out 5 representatives to fight it out. When Kang hears this, he realizes how smart that idea is. See, School 2 has A-rank and C-rank hunters, while School 1 is all B-rank. When the blonde guy hears this, he disagrees, noting they only have 30 minutes before the end. Since officials are waiting, he suggests keeping it to a one-on-one. Deep down, Kang knows they are all just terrified of the A-rank teacher. Suddenly, the blonde guy calls him out by name. He mentions hearing about Kang's spar with the vice principal, but insults him for hiding in the back like a coward. He claims that Kang's blade skills were just a manipulated trick. Not wanting to deal with this nonsense, Kang tells him to think whatever. Let's be real, Isle would have excitedly taken this fight if she were here. Still, Kang doesn't see any real reason why he should even bother. Because honestly, even if he wins, it would only inflate the egos of those snobs who look down on him for his non-hunter background. He keeps his cool until Blondie finally brings up the student saga. Now watch this, Kang agrees to the duel instantly while his friends try to stop him. He reminds them that this is a formal challenge and he's fully allowed to participate. To settle their nerves, he promises to give up the representative spot regardless of the outcome. With the agreement settled, Kung finally steps out, telling Blondie to gather every single teacher in the entire school to come out and fight him together. Everyone in the room is absolutely floored. They think he's just some comedian pulling a prank, but Kang makes it very clear that he isn't joking. Blondie is clearly disgusted by the suggestion, figuring Kang's ego is hitting the stratosphere just because he's been getting some attention in the media lately. The golden-haired teacher decides right then and there to use this moment to show Kang that the world isn't as easy as he thinks. While drawing a simple circle meant to be the ring, Kung looks at the golden-haired teacher and speaks up. He tells the teacher that he's the one who should learn the world isn't easy, since they'll probably fight all day just over picking a referee. Once the ring is finally marked out, Kang starts laying down the rules. He makes it clear that the first one to step out of the ring loses. The golden-haired teacher can't believe just how much confidence is dripping off of Kang. So he scoffs and tells him they won't even need the whole faculty. Instead, they're only going to have 3 people from their side step into the circle. One of the other teachers asks Park if he's actually sure about what he's saying. Park snaps back that they need to teach this brat a lesson for having such a big mouth. Park is already running his mouth, bragging about how they're going to tear Kang to pieces for his arrogance. The School 1 staff are panicking, but the School 2 teachers are just chilling. Now that everyone is finally ready to go, Kong announces a 10-minute time limit, stating that anyone who surrenders or gets pushed outside the circle loses the match immediately. The trio from School 2 agrees to the terms, and Kang is actually using this duel to test his limits and find out exactly how strong he's become. The whistle blows and the trio lunges into action immediately, and it turns out Park picked the best possible team combination because he has zero intention of going easy on our guy. Kang now has to handle a swordsman, a vanguard, and a mage all at once. The vanguard throws his spear first, but Kang dodges it effortlessly. Kang quickly realizes the spear was just thrown to give the swordsman enough time to close the distance for a strike. But he blocks the attack easily and even manages to snap the guy's sword in half. Everyone watching is completely paralyzed with shock. They can't believe Kang just shattered a real sword using nothing but his bare hands. Even Kang is surprised by how naturally his inner guard is manifesting for him these days. While he's busy checking out his own hand, the mage unleashes a massive spell that definitely shouldn't be used during a simple practice spar. When Kang sees the attack coming, he realizes that this mage is the rank elite among their staff, and he has to admit her incoming attack looks pretty dangerous. Suddenly, a memory of a conversation he had while learning the heavenly demon swordsmanship suddenly flashes back into his mind. Kang recalls Cho saying the heavenly demon's presence was overwhelming, but he never claimed that his attacks were actually impossible to break. Right at that moment, Kang finally perceives the true flow of mana. Essentially, the fire spell the mage is using is incredibly dangerous, far outclassing anything you would see from a low-level hunter. It's lethal because it explodes on impact, dealing massive area damage even when sliced. But Kang cuts through it like butter, leaving the mage Kim Jong-yun utterly speechless. With a single, effortless swing of his blade, Kang nullifies the attack, sending shockwaves through the hearts of everyone watching. No one can wrap their heads around this. He just shattered a sword barehanded and erased that high-level magic. Everyone is left wondering who this monster really is. Our main character, on the other hand, is absolutely loving this because his plan is working perfectly. He realizes his growth allows him to literally see mana flowing, giving him the chance to slice the energy until it simply vanishes as if the cast failed. It suddenly dawns on him that the dean must have seen his attack coming, but allowed it to hit just out of curiosity. Kang can't help but respect the sheer guts of these old-timers. Right at that moment, the swordsman and the vanguard decide to pull back, knowing they are no match for him, but Kim refuses to give up. Kang is genuinely impressed by her, because it shows she has the strongest mental fortitude of them all. Then, out of nowhere, Kim begins channeling an even more terrifying spell for us to witness. And Kang decides to strike while she is still chanting, hoping a quick aura slash will end this fight immediately. To his surprise, a powerful barrier snaps into place to protect her while she continues. Park laughs at Kang, claiming his aura will never pierce Kim's defense. Kang sees just how smug and happy the guy is acting. So he decides if a pistol fails, he'll just bring out a cannon. Kang prepares his most devastating skill yet, the aura blade, stunning the instructors. They scream at him for using such a massive, lethal move in a simple duel. But Kang reminds them that Kim was the one who first tried to incinerate the entire field just to hit him. Kang ignores their whining and decides to test out the new skill. He hurls his sword directly at Kim's face, waiting to see whether it will be his flying blade that shatters or her supposedly unbreakable barrier. The sword slams home, creating a massive flash before the barrier shatters on impact. With her defense gone, he expects her to quit, but she has one more trick. Kim can actually cast while on the move, a legendary and difficult skill to master. She circles the ring while her chanting never falters for a second, leaving the instructors in the crowd absolutely floored by her talent. They are convinced Kang has absolutely no way out now, and he is about to be roasted alive because his sword is out of reach. Right then, Kang asks the crowd if they really thought he was foolish enough to throw his sword away without a plan. He explains that he intentionally missed because he didn't want to kill her. And then, suddenly, the sword begins dancing through the air, following Kang's every hand movement. The instructors are losing their minds. They have no clue how he's pulling this off. It turns out this incredible secret technique was passed down to Kang by his master a long time ago. Now that he finally has the energy, you and I can see its true power. Think of it as a legendary sword art that uses pure energy to strike from a distance. Before Kim even reacts, a hidden blade slashes her back. She screams, coughing up blood as the devastating strike lands. She hits the dirt hard. Kang is visibly shaken, terrified he might have accidentally finished her off. Luckily, the school nurse rushes in to stabilize the lady immediately. That is when Kang realizes he still lacks full control. The drain on his internal energy is way more intense than he expected. While Kim is being patched up, Kang is named the victor. His prize, the absolute authority to choose the training camp's next commander. Ever the shameless opportunist, Park actually approaches Kang to apologize for his earlier trash talk. Even the other instructors step up, apologizing for their incredibly disrespectful behavior. Kang is stunned. These guys did not exactly look like the type to ever say sorry. Humble as always, Kang plays it cool and admits he was rude too. He is genuinely impressed they can take a loss like adults. He is just glad things ended peacefully, since they will be stuck together on this mission for the next 3 days and 2 nights. Kang then turns to Kim and hands her the role of training commander. The instructors from School 1 are floored. They cannot believe he is just giving away his power. They point out that since he won the duel, he is the one who should be leading the students. But Kang was moved by Kim's refusal to give up. He sincerely hopes the upcoming training sessions will give the students a chance to learn from her truly incredible spirit. Some might think he is just trying to look like a hero, but that is not it at all. He truly believes that Kim's versatile combat style will be the perfect tool to help everyone prepare for the upcoming martial arts tournament. Plus, he was not about to reward his own colleagues who were too cowardly to fight. Kim accepts the honor, and they all decide to celebrate with a group dinner. Elsewhere, Mandang is on the move with Bangpul, the dean of the second school. Bangpul starts bragging that the training commander is definitely going to be from his school. But Mandang drops a bomb, revealing that an instructor from School 1 took the spot. Bangpul is stunned. He knows for a fact School 1 did not send any A-rank martial artists. Mandang just shrugs it off, telling him that Kang must have gotten lucky. Bangpul is not buying it. Mandang is grinning like a madman, clearly hiding how proud he really is. Soon afterward, the massive training field is packed with students from both schools, and we can see Mandong is still busy addressing them. The students are already dying from his mind-numbing lecture. And every time it looks like he is finally wrapping up, he finds something else to ramble about. At this point, the twins are reaching their breaking point. They cannot believe they are wasting time on this lecture instead of training. When he finally stops, the students let out a silent cheer. But that joy is short-lived. Now, it is time for Bongpul to address them. Later on, the students head off to their assigned dorms. And right on cue, Kong runs into Shuna. Kong is stunned to see her. He thought she'd be in school or working. She explains the upperclassmen are out for practical training. Basically, there are no other kids around. Shuna compliments Kong, saying she is pretty. Sure, he is working hard since the new instructors arrived yesterday. Honestly, it makes sense. Kong admits it is all because of a certain father. Shuna smiles, she knows exactly who. She asks if he even planned on coming at first. Kong just says no. Admitting those daily extra classes had him completely drained. He was actually looking forward to finally getting some rest. Shuna explains he's being piled with work because her father truly trusts him. Plus, he did get that recommendation letter for the A-rank promotion assessment. Kong just laughs, she's not wrong. Mandong probably saw something special in him during that golden light incident. With the obstacle course happening today, Shuna asks if she can watch the session. Kong's all for it. He says Mandong was actually looking for her earlier. Shuna then explains she was going to meet Mandong anyway and suggests they just walk together. Suddenly, Mandong's booming voice echoes nearby, and he's not alone, Bongpul is with him. Kong is floored by the sheer size of these two giants, but he has no idea who Bongpul is. Bongpul immediately rushes over to greet his niece, Shuna. But once Kong hears that name mentioned, it clicks. This isn't just some guy. Bongpul is one of the 10 S-rank hunters in the country. And despite looking like a tank, he's actually a master magician specialized in wind-type magic. Apparently, Bongpul flies under the radar since he's from a different school. Kong shows some respect, introducing himself and saying it is an absolute honor to meet him. Bongpul is equally hyped. Mandong apparently hasn't stopped talking about this kid. He reaches out for a handshake, and Kong is surprised by how friendly the old dude seems. Kong happily accepts the handshake, but Bongpul grips his hand with bone-crushing force. Suddenly, Kong is hit by an overwhelming, suffocating presence. Everything fades, and he finds himself trapped inside Bongpul's massive, surreal monospace. The scale is unbelievable. Kong feels like he's literally floating in deep space. Luckily, Mandong taps Bongpul on the shoulder. He tells him to back off. He's scaring the kid, and he's already played with him enough. Bongpul laughs and apologizes for going overboard. He was just curious to see the guy who soloed all the teachers from his school. He apologizes again, just in case he took the test too far. Shuna steps in, promising Kong knows it was all in good fun without ill intent. Kong shakes it off, telling them he's fine before asking Mandong why he called him. Mandong gets serious. This is something they need to talk about in private. Kong suggests moving the conversation over to a nearby lounge. But before they go, Bongpul has one burning question to ask. He asks why Kong gave up the head instructor spot to Kim. I mean, he was the one who won. Kong gives it to him straight. Those teachers from his school just lacked any real spirit. He points out that everyone was shaking in their boots. Hearing their opponent was a top-tier rank hunter, that forced him to take charge. But Kim, she refused to back down, even knowing Kong was light years ahead of her. Bongpul loves that answer. Suddenly, it all starts to make sense to him. Mandong was betting everything on Kong. That is why no other ranks were sent here. It is the truth, but Mandong tries to play it off and deny everything. Kong is stunned. This old guy sent him to camp just because he was terrified of losing to a rival school. Before the truth gets any uglier, Bongpul suggests they make a quick exit, promising to treat Kong to some coffee. As they head out, Bongpul looks completely lost. He cannot wrap his head around the fact that Kong is supposedly just a B rank. Then check this out. His palm actually peeled just from shaking Kong's hand. He needs healing, But now he knows Kong is way stronger than he looks. A bit later, Mandong reveals the real reason for this meeting. It is time for Kong's a rank promotion test. Since he was the one who put Kong's name forward, he wanted to drop some wisdom. Mandong asks the big question, is he actually ready for the test? Kong admits he has zero prep. He has been way too busy teaching extra classes to the kids. Mandong sighs and asks if he even knows what the exam is about. Kong shrugs, it is just clearing out in a grade portal, right? Mandong nods, he is right, but there is more. The test happens inside that a grade portal, with examiners assigned based on how many hunters show up. But here is the kicker. An actual S-rank hunter goes along as the lead examiner. Kong's jaw drops when he hears an S-rank is coming along. This is the first time anyone has mentioned that level of heat. He asks if Mandong is the one testing him, but the old man says no way. Since he made the recommendation, he is legally barred from actually conducting the assessment himself. Still, he is not stressed. With Kong's insane skills, he is totally confident the guy will breeze through. Even so, Kong wishes it was Mandong testing him. Better the devil you know, right? Kong asks if it is Bongpul who is running the test, but Mandong just shakes his head. You and I can see Kong's patience finally wearing thin here. Mandong decides to play a game and gives him a hint. He says the examiner is actually related to one of Kong's students. Kong starts racking his brain to figure out which of his students has a connection to an actual S-rank hero. Suddenly, it hits him, it is Sane. Basically, the man running the show is her own father, the legendary Daechan. Mandong warns him. This guy Dai has a razor-sharp tongue and is incredibly strict about everything. He is infamous among hunters for almost never giving out a passing grade. Kong does not care about strictness, as long as the dude does not try to fail him on purpose. Mandong tells him not to worry. With Kong's power, there should not be any issues. Plus, Kong is teaching his daughter. Maybe that means he will go easy on him for once. Maybe. From the way Mandong is talking, it is clear. This Dai guy is a total nightmare. For the next few minutes, Mandong keeps dropping secret advice. He shares the insider stuff, like what causes major point deductions, things only an actual examiner would know. Mandong claims he is just helping to save his own face, but you and I know that Kong is still deeply grateful for the guidance. Moving forward, Kang realized recommending Kim from school was an absolutely brilliant move because she made a perfect training captain, keeping every student safe with her constant, eagle-eyed supervision. Because of her, the Ordinary Hunter Academy students successfully pushed through their brutal training camp schedule, tackling 3-day guerrilla drills, obstacle courses, rappel training, and even magic chemical, biological defense drills, portal trench combat, and grueling full-plate marches. 3 days later, Kong gathers the whole class, announcing that it is finally time to kick off their special supplementary lessons. They will be pairing up for duels today while everyone else watches and analyzes the fights. The twins are the first to step up, clearly frustrated and looking for trouble. They immediately call out Minhai and Jin's Su as their opponents. Kong urges them to chill. He can feel the pure malice radiating from their choice right now. Now here is the kicker. Minhai and Jin's Su actually started dating during the camp. During the helicopter rappel drills, Kong noticed that Jin's Su was absolutely terrified, so he told him to scream the name of the person he loved while descending. Kong totally expected the guy to yell for his mom or dad, but he ended up screaming Minhai's name instead, exposing his massive crush to everyone. While the two actually end up together in the book, Kong never expected Jin's Su to confess right at the camp. But now, back in the present, Kang tells the students the duels must proceed as planned. A few moments in, and Kong notices the kids are performing pretty poorly. He gets why Minhai and Jin's Su are distracted by each other. And the twins are way too aggressive, but the person he's actually worried about is Sejin. While they spar, he notices her movements are completely off, not like her usual self at all. Sejin even asks Kong if he secretly cranked up the difficulty level. But he says no, asking if she's okay. Then, as they continue, he easily slaps the sword right out of her hand. Kang asks what's wrong, because there is no way she should have missed that last attack. He literally gave her a skill book for this exact scenario. He points out she used the wrong parry, which means she hasn't been practicing enough lately. He explains to Sejin that this parry style is like a math formula. She needs to burn into her subconscious to react instantly whenever an attack comes flying in. Then, Kang announces to the entire class that, from this moment until the end of the term, they are focusing strictly on mastering that parry style. He makes it clear that stamina and strength training are now homework. They've got to do that on their own time, outside of class. Turning back to Sejin, he drops a bombshell. She is officially banned from any stamina training for now. The rest of the class is stunned. And Jin's Soo immediately calls him out, claiming the teacher is showing some serious favoritism. Kang shuts that down, explaining it's not favoritism. Sejin's actual stamina has dropped significantly since the training camp began. He warns her that overtraining is actually doing her way more harm than good. Then Kang asks the whole class if Sejin looks thinner than she did just a few days ago, and everyone agrees. Minhai chimes in, saying Sejin lost so much weight that everyone thought she was on a crash diet. Sejin tries to brush it off, insisting that it is really no big deal. She claims it is just the constant practical training and being on the move so much lately. She tells everyone she is fine, but Kang. He knows she is lying. Those dark circles under her eyes tell the real story. Even worse, Sejin has more classes than the first years, plus she is student council president. Free time, that simply does not exist for her. As if that is not enough, Kang heard Sejin spends her weekends doing even more work. She is at her father's guild for portal training whenever there are no classes. Kang knows that even professional hunters would struggle with the insane workload she is facing right now. Kang tells her the extra training is pointless because even without the parry style, she is elite. He is absolutely certain she would dominate the upcoming martial arts tournament anyway. Kang gives her some advice. Rest is just as vital as training. He suggests she skips the extra classes to finally get some sleep and recover. Sejin hesitates for a second, but then she just smiles and insists she is totally fine. Kang is caught off guard. He tells her the choice is hers, but he is clearly worried. He makes sure she knows that taking a break is always an option if it becomes too much. She just beams. Sejin nods, and honestly, Kang is impressed. Any other student would have jumped at the chance to rest. They would have skipped out of that room without a second thought. He is incredibly proud of her grit, but at the same time, he feels truly sorry for her. Kang decides to call it a day and ends the class early. The students are stunned since it is not even 6 o'clock yet. Jin Soo, however, is thrilled because this is exactly what he was hoping for. While the rest of the class celebrates and gets ready to head out, Sejin stands alone, still thinking about what Kang just told her. She pulls off her glasses as the world starts spinning, and suddenly, a drop of blood falls from her nose. Suddenly, she collapses right there. The entire room panics and rushes to her side immediately. No time to waste. They sprint to the infirmary where Siona is luckily still on duty and ready to help. She reassures Kang that it is not fatal, but Sejin is severely overworked. She has already started her on an IV drip. Kang is relieved Siona was there. He thanks her for potentially saving the girl's life. Then Siona mentions something. Sejin was literally reciting her training notes while unconscious. That is a clear sign she is pushing herself way too hard. Siona asks Kang if he knew about this level of stress, and he admits the rumors he heard are bad. Sejin has not been sleeping more than 3 measly hours a night. Kang knew she looked exhausted, but he had no idea it was this severe. Siona points out that third years already have the heaviest workload in the entire school. On top of that nightmare, she is still attending all those extra classes. And if you can believe it, she is still running the student council. Plus, she is doing portal raids every single weekend. Her schedule is basically a death sentence at this point. Siona says she already has the skills. There is just no reason to kill herself overworking. It seems she is just a total perfectionist. But Kang knows the truth. It is not perfectionism, it is her father. He is demanding way too much from her. A while later, Sejin finally opens her eyes. Her first thought, apologizing for passing out. Kang immediately stops her. She has absolutely nothing to be sorry for. He tells her to stay down and rest before he walks her back to the dorms. Sejin brushes it off, telling Kang she is fine before asking what time it is. Once she gets the answer, she panics about a Monday assignment, but Kang insists she take it easy since the weekend just started. But Sejin points out her schedule is packed from tomorrow all the way through Sunday night. She slides on her glasses, only to find her vision still blurry from all that built-up exhaustion. Sona looks on worried, asking if she really thinks a portal raid is a good idea in this state. Kang steps in, urging her to just rest and tell her team she is not coming. Sejin hesitates, clearly torn, making Kang wonder if her father is the reason she is so reluctant. He asks for permission to contact him, and Scene quickly agrees to the idea. Kang admits they do not exactly have a close personal history, but they are already set to meet this Sunday. This catches Sejin off guard, and she asks why on earth he is meeting her dad. Kang explains it is for his promotion review, where her father happens to be the judge. Hearing that news, Sejin warns that talking to him won't help, as her father never gives his daughter special treatment. Sejin settles for thanking the two of them for the brief rest she got. But as Sejin tries to stand, Kang immediately pushes her back onto the bed, ordering her to stay put. He tells her she is staying until that IV drip is completely finished. He adds that she should not worry about how the adults handle things. But Sejun admits she is terrified her father will fail him because of her. Sejin asks why he cares so much when he is not even her homeroom teacher. Kang reminds her of her status as president before citing Article 10. Clause 3 of the Hunter School Code. The rule states every faculty member must put student safety above all else. He explains that if it only meant physical harm, they would not need a specific regulation for it. To Kang, the way her father is pushing her is a direct threat to her health. Still though, Scene tries to argue, but Kang shuts it down. She is resting for the next 2 days. He tells her to trust him to pass the review and handle the meeting perfectly. Hearing his confidence, Yu and I watch as Sejin finally agrees to rely on him. Soon, the exam day arrives. Kang is ordered to the council building by 8 a.m. instead of heading straight to the portal. Looking at the massive structure, he wonders if they are just trying to psych him out. He pulls out his phone, and just like he expected, his students have flooded his inbox with good luck messages. Just then, one of the reviewers, a rank hunter Park Hyuk, appears. Kang bows respectfully and offers his greetings to the man. He is actually shocked at how friendly Park is, since he expected a hard-ass like Diane. Park suggests they head toward the portal site, telling him they will depart once Dai shows up. But he is pretty sure he will be on time. Since other applicants are waiting, a bus arrives to move them. Kang is relieved to see a bus waiting. This is a good start. It makes the logistics easier for him, especially since he has to return here after passing his exam. Kang hops on and is stunned by the massive crowd of applicants already waiting to take the test. They all look incredibly intense, like they are marking their territory and trying to prove how strong they are. The conductor asks for his name. After Kang identifies himself, the man gives him the go-ahead. He tells him to hand over his license and take seat number 2. Simple enough, right? But just as he steps onto the bus, a massive, terrifying presence appears. It is none other than Daichin, and things are about to get really awkward. Of all the seats, Daichin sits right next to King. This poor dude is now in the most nerve-wracking situation of his entire life. Kang is so uncomfortable he wants to smash the window and jump out, no joke. Luckily, the portal they are heading to is close by. Thank the heavens for small favors. Out of nowhere, Diane calls out Kang's name just to be sure. Kang confirms it is him. Diane is surprised that Sejun missed the practice session this week, and he knows it was Kang's call. Kang owns up to it, but Daichin warns him to stay out of Sejun's schedule from now on. That's when Kang drops the bomb. Sin actually collapsed during one of their classes. He explains that she had to go to the infirmary. Dai is shaken by the news, but Kong tells him it is just exhaustion, nothing to panic over. He reveals that he was the one who forced her to rest for 2 full days. One day just wasn't going to cut it. Kong insists Esjun is so talented that skipping a few classes won't stop her from winning the tournament. He starts listing out every single burden Esjun is carrying. He reminds Daeun that she is a person before she is a hunter. Daeun finally speaks up. He genuinely had no clue that Esjun had actually passed out. Kong isn't shocked, though. The old man hasn't exactly been the most attentive father lately. But then, the conversation takes a turn. Daeun decides he has been way too soft. To Kong's absolute horror, the man decides to double down on Esjun's physical training instead. He then tells Kang that he is officially cutting the supplementary classes from Esjun's schedule, and he tells him not to take it personally. Dai further adds that Esjun collapsed because she was physically weak. He warns Kong to stay away while he handles her training himself. Kong has plenty of choice words for this old man. But deep down, he is convinced that Daikin is a total freaking lunatic. 40 minutes later, they arrive at the rank portal. The atmosphere is heavy. Daeun leads the way as the examiners head inside, with all the candidates following right behind. Even though the situation with Sin is still weighing on his mind, he forces himself to focus. He has no idea what kind of terrain is waiting for him in there. They step through the gate. It is a desert dungeon. Kang recognizes it immediately. He spent time in a place like this recently. Most of the other applicants look miserable. This kind of terrain is a nightmare for a lot of hunters. Daeun tells everyone to gather around. He reminds them that this is still a serious exam. But here is the catch. The examiners will be fighting alongside them. Apparently, this group has 2 mages, a martial artist, an archer, a spear wielder, and a swordsman. Let's go. Kang realizes that besides Daeun and Park, the rest of the examiners are basically just long-range spammers. He figures out that either he or the martial artist will have to take the vanguard. Then, Daeun steps up and barks out the formation orders. He announces that the examiners will hold the rear for duty, while the front lines will be handled by Kang and Hunter Park. Everyone else is free to move at their own discretion. Daeun explains that the passing criteria is simple. They must clear an A-rank 10-person portal. He warns them that there are 0 records for this portal, so they must stay alert. Once the briefing is finished, Daeun starts the exam and Kong offers to take the lead. Kong knows that he must expand his aura detection range, because so many monsters are known to hide within this sandy desert terrain. Stepping forward, Kang unleashes his aura, which is capable of detecting any life within 500 meters. Very soon, Kang notices that the extreme heat and cold are already starting to exhaust some hunters. He suggests they head toward a distant sand dune because he can sense monsters waiting there. But the others cannot see anything, and immediate doubt starts to spread among the group. They find it impossible to believe that even a mana scan could reach that far-off dune. Kong reveals that he only detected them because he spread his mana across the entire area. A hunter mocks Kong, calling him a massive liar since there is simply no way his mana could reach that dune. Kong hears this and regrets not being with Xian Hua and his sail, since they would have charged toward the enemies by now. Daeun decides they should follow Kang's suggestion anyway, telling the group they can just penalize Kang if there are no monsters at the dune. Suddenly, Kang stops them, saying there is no need to move because the moment they left the safe zone, they were spotted. Before they can react, the monsters close in and surround them. Kong warns the team that the enemies are rushing toward them at full speed. The team suddenly finds themselves facing off against an A-rank nightmare, the fearsome red giant scorpion. These things are known as desert thugs, boasting an incredibly hard exoskeleton and high magic resistance. To make matters worse, their sting can kill someone in 10 minutes if medical attention is not given immediately. Kong analyzes the battlefield and realizes they are currently surrounded by 4 of these red scorpions. Dian barks out orders, telling the mages to prep spells while the vanguard spreads out to buy some time. He announces that he will hold the center, while Kang casually offers to take care of the right side. Kang makes his move, blurring across the sand as he dashes toward the scorpion. After landing a heavy hit, Kang notices that the rest of the team is actually handling the fight well. The clash between Kang and the monster is so fierce that he is forced to slice off one of its arms. Since soloing enemies earns more points, Kang decides to end the scorpion's life with as little pain as possible. With a single, powerful strike, Kang splits the beast in half, finishing it instantly. The other candidates are left speechless. But Dian, on the other hand, seems to be genuinely impressed by what he just saw. When Dian first spotted Kang's name among the applicants, he honestly didn't think it was a big deal. Hearing that the guy was Sejun's supplementary teacher didn't exactly change his mind either. It just seemed totally unimportant. Not only that, all right, you and I are about to see a father who is definitely not playing favorites. Honestly, he's just mad that because of him, Sejun's weekend training got cancelled. While on the bus, Dian didn't think much of Kang since he looked weak. And besides that, he was actually praying for Kang to beg for mercy just so he could reject him. To his shock, Kang stayed totally cool. Dian just chalked it up to the guy being an arrogant punk. But finally, he realized how wrong he was, now that they've actually hit the battlefield. Dai is seriously impressed. Kang could sense mana from miles away and even knew exactly how to use it. He's absolutely blown away by how Kang sliced through that scorpion like it was nothing but butter. Dai finally sees why Mandong has been acting so cocky lately. It's all because of Kang. Kang, on the flip side, is just wondering if he finished the monster too fast. I mean, why is everyone staring at him? Turns out, he's the only one who actually took down the monster he was supposed to be fighting. Even De-chan is only holding his beast back. Kang looks around and sees a martial artist struggling hard against a scorpion. That tough armor is no joke. Kang starts thinking about helping her out since she hasn't mastered her aura yet. The girl keeps punching away, but then something happens that leaves her totally stunned. She can't believe Kang actually cut through a shell that thick with just a regular sword. Just as the monster is about to overwhelm her, Kang dives in to the rescue. He shreds the monster's limbs in a flash, calmly asking her if she's doing okay. Now, you and I need to watch this because the big guns are finally coming out. The mages unleash a massive freezing spell directly at the monster. De-chan is impressed. Freezing magic was the right call since these scorpions are usually immune to spells. He immediately realizes that out of all the magic users, the electric user is the only one who failed right then and there. Also, the archer and spearman are going to need aura training if they want to try again later. They were only supposed to stall for time, but they ended up wrecking their own weapons. The martial artist thanks Kang for the save, apologizing for being so rude earlier. She admits she never expected a hunter who could sense a monster from such a crazy distance. Kang lets her know he's not even mad. Honestly, he's used to people reacting like that. He wishes her luck with the rest of the raid and turns to leave. But she tells Kang she's not going anywhere. She's going to keep following him. Dai calls out the names of everyone who failed, ordering them to head for the exit portal. The examiner tells them to move it. Kang realizes De-chan is rushing them out because this dungeon is getting dangerous. Suddenly, Kang's senses scream at him. He realizes something terrifying. They're completely surrounded by monsters. The girl sees the look on his face and asks him what's going on. At that exact moment, Dai finally senses them too. He's shocked that Kang was able to pick them up even before he did. You and I can feel the tension as Kang screams a warning to everyone heading for the exit. The examiner turns around to see what Kang is shouting about, and a massive monster appears right in front of him. And just like that, you and I watch as he is swallowed whole. Turns out this beast is none other than the legendary sandworm, and a rank monstrosity widely feared as the desert calamity. Meanwhile, Siona is feeling genuinely worried about Kang. Asking her father, how he thinks our boy is handling the test. Mandong is confident. He personally recommended Kong, and he knows real talent when he sees it. Hua pushes even further, asking just how much potential Kang really has. Could he reach Mandong's level? Her father just smiles. Kang is destined to become even stronger and more capable. But he explains that to push past a rank, you need a very specific kind of talent. He puts it like this. When a nightmare monster appears, a B-rank hunter runs without a second thought. But in a rank, they remember their duty and stand their ground to defend. Now, it might look like the examiners are only scoring raw combat power. But in reality, they are watching every little detail and reaction. Truth is, you never know a hunter's heart until a real crisis hits. After hearing about A and B ranks, Siona wonders, what exactly would an S rank do in this mess? Mandong's answer is simple. An S rank focuses entirely on eliminating the source. If you kill the cause, the entire crisis just vanishes. Simple as that. Right on cue, Kong is charging the beast without an ounce of hesitation, with Dai trailing behind. Mandong notes that people who possess this exact mindset are the ones destined to become S-rank elites. Boom, Kang and Daechun shred the beast, leaving everyone speechless. Once it's dead, Dai finally talks to Kang. Everyone watches in pure shock. With the monster dead, Dai finally approaches Kang with a calm look. He explains he won't let S-Jun grow up weak. After all, she is his one and only successor. Still, Kong makes it clear he hates those teaching methods. Surprisingly, Daeun agrees to stop pressuring S-Jun so hard. While they are hashing things out, the rank examiner literally crawls out of the monster's stomach, tears streaming down his face. Dai drops a bombshell. Kong must ensure his daughter wins the tournament, and if he fails, well, he will have to become his son-in-law instead. The second Kang hears that, his face drops. This is his absolute worst nightmare. His whole world just turned gray. And he stays in that daze for the next few days. Even his new license photo captures that miserable look, leaving his students wondering what on earth is wrong with him. Finally, Sane is forced to ask what he's thinking about so deeply. Obviously, he can't tell her he's stressed about her dad's marriage proposal. Back in the dungeon, that proposal shocked him to his very core. Every bit of his focus just evaporated instantly. He really hates Daechun now. Unable to believe a father would treat his own daughter like a mere tool to recruit talented hunters. Kong fumes, telling the man he will definitely lead S-Jun to victory. But he has a counter proposition of his own. Daeun is curious, so Kong drops the hammer. He is challenging him to a duel of honor. Back at the school now, Kong asks Sane if she's heard about her new schedule. Turns out, the old man already called her. She's left wondering how Kong actually managed to convince her father. Kong notes that their communication was solid enough for him to handle the training himself. Truth is, Kong has to admit that Dai is easily the most stubborn man he has ever had to deal with. Kong informs S-Jun that he is planning to schedule another parent-teacher conference very soon. But deep down, he is already planning to beat the living daylights out of Daeun. S-Jun thanks Kong with a bright smile on her face, leaving him to wonder how a sweet soul like Scene was ever born from that trash who calls himself Da. Apparently, the one who crushed Sajin in the World Hunter Tournament next year was actually Bianca Lel, an English prodigy and daughter of Conrad Lel, the man widely known as the strongest hunter in the entire world. The Lel family is famous as a legendary bloodline of master swordsmen. Even her younger brother Ryan made it to the tournament final against Jiang. However, Bianca is dangerous for a lot more than just her sword skills. She can use blades and magic at the same time, making her a total nightmare to fight against. It turns out the magic she uses is far from basic, as she is already performing at the level of an rank hunter. Back in her country, people call her the reincarnation of Merlin, which tells you everything you need to know. A sword genius and S-rank prospect from a family that is also blessed with magic. Kong knows that S-Jun would stand zero chance against a monster of a girl like her. So he heads over to Cho's house, betting that the old man has a solution for just about everything. After hearing Kong's worries, Cho jokes around, asking him if he looks like some kind of personal advice machine. But Kong knows exactly how to bribe him. He reveals he brought plenty of the old man's favorite drinks. Plus, he even brought some chicken. That is when the old man realizes that Kang has seriously caught him off guard this time. Cho admits he is pretty happy with all the gifts Kong brought along. But first, he suggests boiling some water to go with his special pill seeds. Kang is relieved he came prepared, since he was already worried the old man would be mad about his absence in recent times. Kang sets up the laptop in front of Cho to show him some footage of Bianca in action. Even the old master is impressed by her stance and asks who this girl is. Kang explains she was last year's champion in the very same competition his student is entering. He mentions that this video is a compilation of all her match scenes, which is clearly not very long. Cho asks why the footage is so brief, demanding to know if she just has not fought many matches. Kong then clarifies that this is all there is, because Bianca finishes her opponents in record time. She is essentially a famous super rookie, so it is impossible that the global elites did not already try every strategy under the sun to try and take her down. Bianca is a genius who has been doing moving casting since she was 10. She uses high-speed casting to cancel her opponent's skills while using multicasting to launch attack magic at the same time. Every single one of her opponents gets absolutely crushed without effort. So far, there has not been a single opponent capable of fighting off Bianca's overwhelming strength. Kong warns Cho that Bianca is already far beyond the level of most A-rank hunters. Meanwhile, poor Scene is sitting at a B rank at the very best. Kong tells Cho they only have 2 months to train Scene, which means they are going to need one hell of a miracle. Cho looks at the footage and admits it, their power levels completely different. He confesses he hasn't fought many sorcerers before. The guy is basically flying blind. Kong starts teasing Cho right away, claiming there are finally things the great Cho can't handle. But Cho shuts that down fast. It is definitely not out of his reach. He tells Kong they actually have a shot if he takes S-Jun under his wing and teaches her martial arts. Hearing that, Kong is absolutely floored. Cho explains that to beat a sorcerer with a blade, you either sever the flow of their magic or simply overpower them with a much greater sword aura. He tells Kang that since he has reached a higher level, he should see the flaws in their magic now. Kang. He knows Cho is right. After his recent mage fight, he had already considered teaching Sin the way of the sword. And why? Because martial arts is what turned Kong from a simple B-rank hunter into the absolute master he is today. But he is hesitant. This technique is his greatest secret and the very source of his insane power. Yet here is Cho, telling him to just give it away without a second thought. Kong asks if he is really okay with passing these sacred arts onto someone else. Cho just snaps. He calls him a fool, saying he chose him because of his worth, not because some dragon eyes told him to. He asks Kong if he isn't curious. If S-Jun is a genius, what kind of legend will she become? Cho can tell that Sejun has been building up her energy. It is unrefined, but they can take all that raw force and convert it into true internal power. He tells Kong to just imagine the absolute monster she is going to be. Back at home, S-Jun realizes something weird. She can see perfectly fine without her glasses. Could it be that bitter water Kong made her drink? She is starting to wonder. After a quick nap, she feels incredible. Her entire body is going through some serious changes. Soon enough, the day of the domestic tournament finally arrives. Once it starts, S-Jun puts on such a terrifying display of power that her opponent refuses to believe she is just another student. Now look at Kong. He is not shocked at all. Sejun was already a beast even before learning a single martial arts move. He realizes that with the right training, she might actually stand a chance against someone like Bianca. After playing around with her opponent for a little while, Sane finishes the job. She leaves him face down on the dirt with zero hope of getting up. Her classmates are losing their minds. They are totally hyping her up, calling her the greatest after such an easy victory. Kang is actually impressed by how well the other students are supporting Sane. Unfortunately, only Unsu and Sane are still in the bracket. Everyone else from their school got wiped out. It might look like a simple lack of skill, but there is more to it. Kang is convinced that the match pairings were just plain unfair. In the second round, Yunu and Jin's Su clashed, and then Yunio had to go up against Sean. They had prepped all the counter strategies. But Minhai still lost to a top-tier third-year mage who nearly won the whole thing last year. Yunu fought her way to the finals and gave everything, but she still came up short. Regardless, Kang is genuinely impressed. Freshmen making it all the way to the finals, that is practically unheard of. Kung believes that if they enter again next year, they will blast right past the finals and take it all. Minnie and Yunu might have taken a loss to Sejin, but seeing her power only made them respect her even more than before. Later, Sejin heads over to the stands, asking Kang if he will be sticking around for her final match. But Kang has to turn her down. He has got somewhere else to be. He mentions that Shunhwa is coming to pick them up once the whole tournament wraps up today. When they ask for details, he reveals he is actually heading to a parent-teacher conference of all things. Kung is completely confident she can handle this without him, while a nervous Sane promises to try her absolute best. Kung feels it. Her anxiety is obvious, and he knows she is really sweating the upcoming world tournament. So Kang makes her a deal: win this domestic title first. If she does, he promises to hand over the secret to winning the world tournament. Before walking away, Kang leaves her with some final motivation: go out there and win. Shortly after, Sinan is called over for a big interview. She is about to make history, chasing a legendary 3-win streak that this tournament has never seen before. The host praises her for staying so cool and collected through every single match. Then comes the big question: has any opponent actually managed to cause a sense of fear in her? Sejun's answer is simple: honestly, not a single person has done that. The host agrees. It is not arrogance when you actually have the insane skills to back it up. Sejun was knocked out of the world tournament by Bianca last year, so the pressure is on. The host asks if she has developed any new strategies for her big international comeback. Sejun admits she felt lacking back then, but that was just because her skills were not ready. But now, everything is different. With her teacher's guidance, she truly believes she is on a completely different level now. Meanwhile, Kang arrives at the building for his highly anticipated duel against the powerful Daechun. Back at the interview, Sane admits she has not thought about how far she will go, she just wants to win for Kang. Her only plan is to win so she can make Kang truly proud. Over at the duel site, Daeun is actually surprised that Kang showed up right on time. He even praises Kang's courage for not running away like a coward. Daeun offers him a way out, apologize now, and he will let everything go. But Kang is not looking for forgiveness. He could not care less about what this man thinks of him. Honestly, Kang only had one real concern when he agreed to this high-stakes fight. He was just worried that a prideful man like Dai would not even accept the challenge. Kang thought Daechan might claim that fighting in a rank hunter was simply beneath a man of his status. Daechan sets the rules. The duel only ends with a surrender or a total knockout. Daechan adds a twist: if he wins, Kang has no choice but to become his son-in-law. But if Kang wins, Daechun has to stop messing with Sean's world tournament training schedule. With no complaints, Kang tells Daechan to just keep his word. As the duel begins, Daechun arrogantly gives Kang the chance to take the first shot. Kang draws his blade immediately. He is curious to see just how long that smug, arrogant look stays on Daechun's face. Just as the battle is about to erupt, mages seal the arena with a massive barrier. Suddenly, one mage notices Kang is already fueling his aura blade. One guy's shocked, but the other disagrees. He claims only S-rankers can wield an aura blade. His friend agrees, but he's still blown away by what's in front of him. Kang raises his blade, channeling a demonic sword art fueled by pure, annihilating force. He launches the strike at Daeun, looking to end this fight in a single blow. As the blast surges toward Dai, He readies his defense, but the pressure alone shatters the air, sending the mages into a total panic. The skeptic who doubted Kang's aura blade is now screaming his head off in disbelief. He's desperately wondering what kind of monster Kang really is. Little do they know, Kang is holding back. If he unleashed his full power, nobody here would survive. Once the dust settles, a jagged, destructive scar is left trailing right behind Dayan. Dayan! He's bleeding from a cut on his cheek. Even 3 barriers couldn't stop that force. Dai offers a rare compliment, admitting that it was a hell of a fight. Kang's surprised. The guy actually managed to parry every single one of those strikes. That move was almost identical to the one he used against Mandang. Dayan admits that attack proved it. No one in his guild is ever going to be capable of training Sajin the way Kang can. Because of that, Dai tells Kang he absolutely has to win this match. Why? Because he wants Kang all to himself. The look on Dai's face is pure nightmare fuel. Kang realizes he's dealing with a total lunatic. As Dai readies his own counter, the terrified mages frantically throw up 6 more defensive barriers. But honestly, they don't think it's enough. They scream for every available mage to help hold the line. If Dayan goes all out, this whole building is coming down. And just like that, he makes his move. He blurs toward Kang at blinding speeds, hoping to scramble his senses and keep his strikes unpredictable. Kang notes the speed. Faster than Mandang for sure, but compared to Cho, still way too slow. Just as Dai's strike is about to land, Kang blocks it effortlessly, flashing a wicked grin that stops Dai in his tracks. Dai can't believe it. Is he really smiling right now? He remembers the duel request. He thought it was just some big joke. He assumed he could just crush Kang's spirit with overwhelming, raw power. But here they are, trading blows as equals. Kang isn't backing down an inch. Dayan realizes it now. Kang is not someone to be toyed with. The look in his eyes says everything we need to know. While Dai unloads all his strength, Kang is just parrying like it's a walk in the park. Dai decides to kick things up a notch. He clearly underestimated his opponent from the start. But right as he prepares a massive finishing move, the mages are losing their minds. Where the hell are the reinforcements? Luckily, 10 mages arrive just in time to help stabilize the flickering barrier. With his ultimate attack finally charged up, Dai launches it. A storm of raw energy slashes tears through the air toward Kang. Kang compares the power to his own meteor demonic force skill from earlier. He wonders if Dayan's mana pool is just as bottomless as his. Kang decides to parry the big hits and dodge the rest. No point in wasting energy. Kang makes his move. He blurs across the room. Dayan thinks he's finally got him running, unleashing even more deadly slashes in his direction. The pressure is absolute madness. Even the mages straining to maintain the barrier are feeling the heat. Noses start bleeding, and before anyone can blink, the strain becomes way too much. They start dropping like flies, while the protective barrier completely shatters to pieces. The dust settles, and Kang is standing there completely untouched. Dayan is left totally speechless. In total shock, the old man has to ask, who exactly is this guy and where did he learn those skills? Deep down, though, Kang is actually thrilled. He just lucked out and found his master, the strongest person on the planet. But then, Kang realizes something is seriously off about how this duel is playing out. See, no matter how massive your mana pool is, it is definitely not bottomless. Kang knows Dayan noticed their styles are similar, so why is he dragging this into a mindless war of attrition? Right then, Dayan calls for an end to the duel, leaving a very confused Kang asking for a real reason. Dayan just points at the surroundings. Kang realizes that every single mage managing the barrier has fainted. Kang immediately smells a rat. Dayan attacked the barriers on purpose because he knew he was about to lose. The old man plays dumb, acting like it is such a shame they have to stop the match right now. But he does admit Kang is strong. Dayan then reminds Kang of the original deal. He will stop the extra training for Sejin and promises not to interfere anymore. But he urges Kang to join his guild if Sejin loses her match. That is when Kang realizes this old man is as persistent as they come. Kang agrees to the proposal. but tells the old man he has one very specific condition of his own. Daechun asks what it is, and without a second thought, Kong clocks the old man right in the face, a brutal punch that sends blood flying everywhere. A stunned Dai asks why, but Kong knows the old man already has the answer. It was obvious he knew he would lose the duel, so he sabotaged it just to make a new deal. Kong makes it clear that the one hit he just suffered is a very generous price to pay for his dignity. Dian is so stunned he can't even find the words. Kong makes it clear he will ensure Sejin wins, provided the old man stays far away from her training. And he gives the old man a final warning. If he starts talking trash or causing trouble after Sejin wins, Kong won't be going easy on him. With that, Kong feels like the stage is finally set for Sejin, the generational talent, to truly shine. The schedule is tight, though. He is not sure how much she can actually learn in such a short time. Either way, Kong is ready to share those wild ginseng roots with Sejin and show her true power. Meanwhile, Sejin has absolutely crushed the competition, winning her finals with an overwhelming performance. Right after her victory, she sits for an interview. When the host asks if the championships are her next target, she simply says yes. Deep down, the host wants a better answer so she can milk the story, so she pivots to a new question. She asks Sejin if there is any specific player she is worried about in the upcoming tournament. Sejin doesn't hesitate, she has got her eyes on Bianca. But when Bianca was asked the same thing, she claimed she wasn't scared of a single soul. She was even asked about last year's runner-up, Rohan, but she just trashed him for being totally unimpressive. Reporters ask Bianca about the lady representing Japan in the competition. She doesn't hold back, claiming that absolutely nobody is currently on her level. Despite all the blatant trash talk, the interviewer is loving the drama. This is exactly what she wanted. All right, news of Sejin's victory suddenly hits, so the reporter decides it's time to bring her up. She's already planning to milk this rivalry for every bit of juicy content. But Bianca just laughs it off, calling Sejin a crybaby she already crushed once. She even goes further, teasing that she is likely way stronger than anyone mentioned. Even the press is left stunned by just how ruthless Bianca is. Bianca then drops a massive challenge, wondering just how many minutes Sejin will actually be able to survive against her. She is absolutely certain that neither Sejin nor any other person on the planet has what it takes to rival her. A bit later, Kong hands Sejin 3 ginseng roots and tells her to start chewing. Sejin is grossed out, but Kong warns her that these roots are actually worth a small fortune. He makes it clear that she needs to match at least half of Bianca's mana to compete. He tells her the only choice left is to dope and take some serious shortcuts. Sejin has no other choice but to bite into that extreme bitterness. There is zero time to celebrate. The real work has to begin now. They head off to Mount Serac for a brutal and intensive private lesson. Time is clearly running out, but Sejin is still dead set on the championship. Once all the ginseng roots are gone, Kong praises her grit, but warns her that the real nightmare is starting. He looks her in the eye. "Do you trust me?" She tells him straight up that she wouldn't be here if she didn't trust him. She assures Kong she's ready for anything, so he doesn't need to worry about her. With that settled, Kong moves on to the next stage. He force opens her vessels, and Sejin screams in absolute agony, taking back every word she said. When he finally stops, she's drenched in sweat, gasping for air like she's in an oven. She confesses that she legit thought she was going to die. She asks if the painful process is finally over. But Kong pulls the same trick his master once played on him. He tells her he missed the right spot and has to redo it. She almost passes out. But when he finishes for real, the change is completely undeniable. Her vessels are finally open, thanks to the secret technique he learned from Cho. Converting all that dormant internal energy suddenly becomes a total breeze, thanks to everything he learned from Cho. Sejin is left speechless as she feels her own internal energy swelling up all around her. Now she finally sees exactly what Kong meant. This energy is far more refined than basic mana. Kong can tell she's already feeling the power flow and warns her not to skip out on her mental training until she gets used to it. He lets her know there is no going back to being an ordinary hunter now. Sejin is completely overwhelmed by the lengths Kang is going to for her sake. She can't help but wonder why he's trying so hard. Sejin is. She finally asks Kang why he is helping her so much, and he admits he made a massive deal with her father. Sejin is stunned by this news, especially when Kang says her father will force him to join the guild if she doesn't win the tournament. He mentions he had to set a strict condition to kick Dai out of the schedule, giving him full control over her victory plan. Honestly, Kang admits that looking at the facts, the deal he struck mostly favors her father, Da-chan. Sejin is touched by his sacrifice until he drops the bomb. He bet his entire life savings on her winning it all. She is completely shocked, asking if he is seriously using her for a high-stakes gambling spree. But Kang assures her it is all legal, through a platform officially backed by the International Hunter Association. Then he reveals those ginseng roots she ate are worth 500 million won per piece. They are so incredibly rare that they only ever appear at high-end auctions. Kang adds some pressure, telling her he won't lose this bet because if she fails, her father is going to make her life a living hell. Right then, Kang promises to quit the school if she wins. Suddenly, she is glad he is such a greedy, materialistic guy. With the first stage finished, Kang decides it is time to move on to the real, full-scale training. Excited to finally start, Sejin asks if their first goal is learning how to counter Bianca's style. Countering is fine, Kang explains. But they need to leverage the true power of her internal energy instead. He reminds her that Bianca specializes in Dispel, an overpowered skill that can instantly shut down any opponent's abilities. However, Kang tells her she won't be relying on regular mana anymore. He explains that Sword Kai and Sword Gang use internal energy, which cannot be dispelled by anyone. Kang tells Sejin they are going to master a finishing move for the exact moment Bianca lets her guard down. He demonstrates the move, and she is absolutely floored when she recognizes the technique from his duel with Mandong. The sheer, overwhelming power of the skill leaves her breathless, and Kang promises to teach her the devastating meteor, exploding demonic skill. Life is short, so he wants her to go big from the start. 3 weeks fly by in a flash, and Kang decides their training is officially complete. It feels like only yesterday that he started, but despite the short time, Kang is confident that the mission was a success. Working together, he confirmed that Sejin is actually a brilliant and hardworking student. Kang knows she never could have mastered this skill without that main character class potential she carries inside her. After blowing a wall to pieces, Sejin turns back to him, asking if she did okay, even if she isn't quite at his level yet. Kang gives her props, telling her she did great. Now, it is time to focus on the World Championship. He suggests they pack up and head back to the city. As for the tournament, it is hosted by 4 world powers, the USA, the UK, France, and Russia. This year, the big tournament is hitting London. Seun Hua and Kang are at the airport, wishing Sin the best of luck. They tell her to stay cool, just keep doing exactly what she has always done. Kang thanks them for coming and makes sure they head back home safe and sound. But it turns out Kang isn't the only one traveling. While he's escorting Sajin to London, Mandong has tagged along too. When he asked to join the trip, Kang realized the old guy was just bored of being stuck at the school all day. Mandong seals the deal by promising business class seats and the best service Kang could ever imagine. Before they know it, the flight to London is in the air. Everything seems surprisingly quiet and normal, even though they're heading straight into a massive event. They land in London and prepare for the round of 64. Mandong is already whining about his jet lag. But Kang reminds him that his physique is way tougher than Sane. And she isn't complaining at all. Mandong uses that to praise Sane, calling her strength truly incredible. As they make their way through the lobby, you and I can see everyone staring at them. Kang is left wondering what's going on. Is it because of his own face, or maybe Mandong's massive, intimidating frame? Right then, Mandong mentions some intel he heard from his sources right here in London. it looks like Scene is actually the biggest talk of the town. Apparently, the records she set during the local qualifiers have spread everywhere. Word is she absolutely demolished every single opponent in just a few minutes. There are even articles warning Bianca to watch out because Korea's future, Sejin, is coming for her. Kang is shocked to hear this and finally realizes that they were totally out of the loop while training up in the mountains. Now Kang finally understands why every eye in the room is on Sane. Reports are even saying that if Sejin and Bianca end up in the same group, it'll basically be the real final. Kang is relieved the stares aren't hateful, but filled with admiration because people think Sejin is the only one who can stop Bianca. Mandong then asks Kang if he really bet on Sejin. Kang confirms it, admitting he sold all his stocks and took out every loan possible just to back her. Kang asks if Mandong bet on a different student, but he admits he put his money on Sane too. Kang can't believe the old man did it, though he quickly claims he only did it to show his support. But there's really nothing he can say to make it look any better. Mandong whispers that almost everyone else is putting their money on Bianca to win it all. He says it might be a tough fight for Sejun given how the others have been performing. Kang tells the old man he doesn't care about the gossip at all, and he tells him he should hurry up and put even more money on Sane. Mandong is stunned. He asks Kang just how good Sejin really is to warrant that much confidence. Kang asks him if he still remembers how their last duel went down. With a look of total certainty, Kang explains that there isn't much difference between his past self and the current Sane. Mandong is left speechless. Soon after, the tournament brackets are officially drawn up and revealed. When Kang sees the results, "It's honestly a shame for us. Sejin and Bianca are on opposite ends, no early clash today. The tournament bracket is set, number 1 fights number 2, and the winner faces the victor of the other bracket." Looking at the seeds, Sejin realizes her path is clear. She is bound to face Bianca in the finals. Kang then gets on the line with Sejin to warn her about her first opponent, a skilled spearman representing Ukraine. This guy is a rising star, so Kang wants to send a message. He tells her to make an impact. He tells Sejin not to hold back at all. The goal is simple: finish this match in a flash. Sejin locks in, taking her master's orders to heart as she steps onto the arena floor. The whistle blows and boom, in less than 10 seconds it is over. She ends it before they can blink. The entire crowd is speechless. Moving to the round of 32, she faces an Italian mage with big plans. The girl tries to copy Bianca's old strategy, aiming to trap Sejin with a binding spell right away. But Sejin just smashes right through. She closes the distance instantly, blade drawn, forcing the mage to beg for mercy and surrender. Sejin dominated, but Kang knows the same tricks won't work when they finally go up against the legendary Bianca. Still, Kang is itching to see Sejin absolutely crush someone as elite as the top-seeded Bianca. He knows Bianca doesn't even see her as a threat yet, which is exactly what he is counting on. The tournament rolls on, and Sejin continues her streak of lightning-fast wins. Bianca remains unbothered, thinking she has nothing to worry about. Kang is playing her like a fiddle. So, let her stay arrogant until the finals. That is when Sejin will hit her with the ultimate surprise, the meteor shower. The next day arrives, and Sejin secures another easy victory. Her opponents try everything to stop her, but she just keeps tearing through them like they are nothing. In the semifinals, she hits her opponent so hard that only the referee's whistle saves him from more pain. Even Kang is surprised. The guy actually lasted a full minute before going down for the count. The stadium is absolutely electric, with thousands of fans chanting Sejin's name in unison. Everyone is talking about this incredible new powerhouse that has just arrived from South Korea. They are sure she will be a national hero by the time this whole tournament is over. But despite all the hype, the betting odds tell a very different and brutal story. Bianca is sitting at a dominant 1.04, while Sejin is the massive underdog at 20.4. It makes sense. Deep down, everyone assumes Sejin is just another victim waiting to fall to Bianca's sword. They are all totally convinced that no matter who the challenger is, Bianca always walks away the winner. After the semifinals, reporters ask Bianca why she has not used a single spell so far. She has been winning every single match with pure skill. Bianca simply tells them she already proved herself twice before using magic. This time, she wants to humiliate her opponents by winning with her sword alone. The interviewer asks if she will really avoid magic for the whole tournament. She reminds them she represents the United Kingdom. She will only use magic if there is a real emergency. But honestly, she is confident she won't even need it to win the gold in the finals. The crowd is stunned by that ego. Bianca is just on a whole different level of cocky. Apparently, in her first match, she actually let the other guy move first before ending his career. But by the second day, she stopped playing around and finished everyone without mercy. All right, you and I see Kong reading Bianca perfectly. She's already wary of a swordsman like Sane. It's clear as day that Bianca comes from a lineage completely obsessed with the way of the sword. But Bianca's mostly been sticking to magic instead. Kong turns to Sane, praising her performance so far while reminding her that she still has to clear the final interview. Kong lets her know Mandang has already promised to buy her something super pricey when she gets back. But Sejin isn't feeling it. She's got zero appetite and doesn't see the point in any rewards. Kong insists she needs to eat, and while she agrees, she's worried about indigestion, preferring to stay just the way she is for now. Kong instantly realizes Sejun is just a nervous wreck, which is why she's refusing to eat anything. Kong tries to hype her up, saying he believes in her and that she won't leave him broke. He reminds her of his absolute trust. He literally bet his entire fortune on her winning this whole thing. Hearing that, Sejun starts panicking, terrified that she might actually end up losing and ruining him. Kong just smacks her head, explaining that all this talk is just his way of showing how much he truly believes in her. He assures Sejun he'll be totally fine even if she loses, since he can always just earn the money back later. Showing off a massive, bright smile, Kong tells Sejun that the outcome doesn't matter, urging her to just do her best. But deep down, Kang is silently begging her to win, because if she loses today, he's going to be dragged straight into her father's guild. Right then, Sejun promises Kang she's going all out, from the first second to the very end. Kang agrees, telling her to leave everything on the field so there are zero regrets. As she walks toward the interview room, she passes Bianca, who suddenly whips around after sensing something strange in the air. In that split second, Bianca realizes that Sejun has become a total monster, just like herself. Bianca always assumed she was the only true irregular of her entire generation. Turns out she couldn't have been more wrong. She realizes the energy coming from Sin is something she's never felt before in her life. Even with all her research into countless mana textbooks, Bianca can see a completely different energy source, besides mana surging through Sinan's body right now. Her assistant notices the shift in her expression and asks her what the issue is. Bianca admits that she might have just given the wrong answer during her big interview. Totally confused, the assistant asks exactly what she means by saying something like that. Bianca says her promise not to use magic in the finals. Yeah, that was a huge mistake. The very next day, the arena is packed, everyone waiting for the long-anticipated showdown between Bianca and Scene. This battle is for the title of prospective S-rank hunter. All eyes are on the underdog, Sane, who was knocked out early last time, but has clearly evolved into someone completely different. Up in the stands, Mandang scolds Kong for not giving Sane a single word of encouragement, especially since she's about to step into the arena for the finals. Kong just shrugs and says he already told Sejun everything she needed to know in the waiting room earlier on. Mandang is instantly curious about what Kong said, since he's worried her opponent is the incredible Bianca, the elite who's already won the tournament twice in a row. Kong tells him to relax, because we're about to find out exactly what he said very soon. Moments later, the match begins and back home. Dae-chan watches every move, curious about how this whole finale will play out. The moment the match starts, Sejun instantly leaps back, putting some serious distance between her and Bianca. Bianca is completely caught off guard. She never expected a swordsman to actually put this much distance between them. It leaves the whole crowd wondering, what's going on, since Sejun usually starts every single fight with aggressive attacks. When Mandong spots this, he yells at Kong, realizing Sejun's plan. Kong just smirks, reminding him of his earlier claim that she's finally reaching a level equal to his own. As they look toward the arena, Sejun is preparing her ultimate move, and Kong knows none of her peers can actually stand a chance at stopping her. Right now, the audience gasps as they see Sejun's technique, which looks exactly like a high-level aura sword. Nobody wants to believe a mere student is capable of wielding a true aura sword. Even Bianca is rattled. This isn't just an aura sword, it's a refined version showing a level of mastery no student should possess. Bianca knew something was off about Sejun from the start. And now she's finally seeing that massive trump card in person. Bianca admits she's impressed Sejun managed to hold back until the grand finals. Still, Bianca isn't truly worried. She has faced aura-based swordsmanship many times while sparring against active, top-tier hunters. She's confident she can neutralize Sejun's big attack without breaking a sweat. Bianca triggers her dispel magic. But to her horror, it fails. One of her signature spells is completely useless on the biggest stage of the entire tournament. It's a move that is designed to cancel out spells and any mana-based buffs, including high-level physical enhancements. 2 years back, another student tried to challenge Bianca with an aura sword, and she shut it down effortlessly. But what's building up in front of her right now isn't mana, it's raw internal energy. Now Bianca is panicking. She's never encountered a type of mana that her magic simply cannot neutralize. Bianca desperately raises her shield. And when that strike hits, it triggers a massive explosion and a blinding flash. The impact forces everyone to their feet, struggling to see what's actually happening in the arena. Even Jinsu worries that Bianca might be dead after taking a monstrous hit like the one Sejun just unleashed. But Unsu snaps at him, saying to stop jinxing it because she's definitely going to be just fine. Once the dust finally settles, Bianca is still standing behind her cracked shield, though she looks deeply rattled. It's pretty clear this match would have ended right then and there if Bianca hadn't raised that shield at the last second. Even Mandong is stunned. He can't believe he's watching a high-level exchange like this between two mere academy students. He finally gets why Kong was so sure that Sejun had what it takes to win. But Mandong worries Sejun might collapse from pure exhaustion, just like Kong did after using his own major technique. Mandong notes that Bianca isn't physically injured, but she's clearly shaken, if she still has the mana to launch a counterstrike right now. He believes that Sejun could be in serious danger. Kong tells Mandong that what Sejun used wasn't actually an aura sword, but a secret technique just below it. Basically, it is a mass-produced killer move that has been modified for repeated use. Bianca nearly passes out from sheer terror as she realizes another strike is coming. Kong reminds Mandong that he bet his entire fortune on Sane, and he would never risk that on a one-shot move. It turns out that Kang actually picked up a vital hint during his duel against Daechun. He noticed that an aura blade can be swung around recklessly until every surrounding barrier is completely shattered. On top of that, the mages were drained of every last drop of their mana. This was when Kong realized he could scale down the meteor shower skill and use it just like Dai did. Basically, their goal is not to actually take Bianca's life during this fight, but to ensure she is defeated so the championship can finally be claimed. They just want to keep attacking her relentlessly until she exhausts her mana on barriers and loses consciousness. So, you and I are looking at the secret strategy Sejun and Kong devised against Bianca. Before Bianca even knows it, she is already putting up 8 layers of barriers just to keep Sejun's attack out. For the next 10 minutes, Bianca struggles to survive the meteor shower even though it is grueling. Finally, after a brutal series of attacks, she is knocked down. And she is saved thanks to the A-rank safety officers who were already on standby. With that, the referee declares the match over and Sane is ultimately declared the winner of the tournament. Celebration erupts the moment Sane is declared the winner, and with tears rolling down her face, she takes her trophy. Fast forward 1 month later. Kang and Sejin each buy a building just in case they want to start a guild together in the future. During her interview at the airport upon her return, Sane reveals that she will not be joining Diane's guild after all. Instead, she declared that she would operate independently and establish her own guild once she reached a rank. Even though hunters make good money, people are already asking the two how they made their fortune. Kang then gives Sejin wild ginseng valued at 1.5 billion, which was an advanced payment he bet in her name. Sejin practically suffers a total brain freeze when Kang finally tells her exactly how much the bet payout was. Sejin was able to secure an overwhelming fortune since everyone else was betting on Bianca to win. However, there was one other person who profited more than Sane, and this is none other than Kang himself. With his wealth, he started buying buildings. He intentionally buys a building very close to Hassan Electronics, which is the massive corporation run by Lee Young's powerful family. Since he is neighbors with the main character, Kang believes he is in the safest place on Earth. Kang basically has enough money to last him a lifetime, and he also has the good looks to match. Because of how much he is praising himself, Sane asks him if he is actually planning to drop out of school now. And Kang confesses he has not thought about it yet. Suddenly, it hits him that he doesn't even need a salary anymore. And Sejin then decides to ask him a question about life after he finally graduates. Sane suggests that they should start a business together. But Kang refuses. He tells her there are 2 things best friends should never, ever do together. The first is to never join the military together, and the second is never to start a business together. Kang lets Sejin know that he has zero interest in her proposal because his only dream is to live life as a wealthy slacker. Still, he's determined not to quit until this swordsmanship class finally graduates from the academy. Right then, boom, a brand new side story unlocks. The system announces that his journey as an extra is finally being recorded. Kang doesn't really mind, though. He's just happy doing whatever he wants. He even picks his own story title, while he and Sejin spend some quality time having a blast together, marking the specifically to create stories and translate them into other languages. So after having the translation and checking the translation in detail, and I gave this translation to our partner abroad to create audio and process the audio, we have an audio file like this as for the images. We that appear in our videos are collected from Google Images, and then we will only select images that fall under usage rights allowed for reuse and modification. We use Google's rights filtering tool according to the